2, 1. Hi, chat.
Aloha. It's Black to the Black in Jack's chat. Yeah. Hold on. I'm gonna give everyone ping. It doobie. Doobies.
It do be black. Good morning. Chat needs to be a little bit higher.
Hear that, chat? Start smoking.
No.
Booting
Not
up
like that.
in Jack Draws games is chat. You never thought you'd see the day. Everyone. Go hang out with Jack and destroy you fools.
Yeah, there's DLC now.
Woo!
Good evening, Luke. Good morning, Ham. Did you guys see the Tomodachi Life thing that happened today?
What? I didn't.
I'm so excited. The direct.
Waha, that's crazy. A whole direct for Tomodachi Life?
Yeah.
That's
I'm so
great.
excited. It looks so good. The only thing that I didn't get confirmed was I still didn't see any same gender relationships.
Hey, now, wait a second.
So I don't know if it's in there and they just didn't show it off for whatever reason.
Jack, this isn't called Homodachi Life. Anyway.
It should be.
I agree.
Yeah, it was great on 3DS. I loved it so much. They have this feature. One of the things on the Direct was that they have, why does Blex sound sedated? Because they just woke up.
24 hours ago.
I don't know. There were some things that I think could have hinted to gay me's, but there was nothing that, like, confirmed it. Like, there were a few blushies between me's, but I didn't know if that was just emotion or if that was like hee hee ha ha we're gonna get married kind of blushies.
Oh man.
But yeah,
having a jump button, oh my god. Sorry, I'm used to playing fucking Legends and I can't, my knees are all stiff and Legends, I can't jump. I need a phone to jump for me. Wow, is that commentary? Zoomers can't even jump without their phone. I don't know. Is that commentary? Anyway,
oh, Odin's
let's
giving
play
me a
some
gift.
Fantasy Life.
He gave me a strong bang. Thanks, Odin.
We love Odin. A coffee, inhale.
Inhale the coffee.
Ugh. Thanks for lurking, hot dog suit. Good to see you, buddy. Son of a bitch. Being accosted. Cables. Being accosted. There we go.
I haven't played this game in so long, so
It's a good game.
I don't think I've played since we last played together.
Last time I played, I was wallowing in my inadequacy because the level of smithing required to make halfway decent versions of this armor, the new armor, is genuinely like twice my level when I'm at my strongest. So I'm like, whoa.
So what do I need to do to activate the DLC?
I think it should have said, "Whoa, this is a weird tent to show up at the bottom right of the camp."
I didn't see anything like that.
Well, turds, did you already boot it up once?
I don't think so.
Go over to the bottom, like the southeasterly section of the map. Hey, look how many frames you got.
Yeah, because I'm on PC.
If you can't. Yeah. Oh, I fell in the water because I was looking at your screen.
I also fell in the water.
Oh, it's an epidemic. Water falling.
There's a thing here. Okay, so it's
yeah.
It's the opposite to what you said.
Haha, I led you astray. Actually, it's the northeasterly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I picked a flower.
I was wrong all along. I look like a worm that you found. PNG tuber was.
Yeah.
Look, it's just me. I'm a worm that you found.
Oh, hello.
Hello, worm. Would you like to play some Fantasy Life? Why, sure.
Hello, worm. Do you look at how cool this furniture is? What?
Dude, look at that fucking armor. Yo, look at that
That
goddamn
armor
armor.
is so cool.
It
This
is
fucking
made of
sword
swords,
here.
and I'm here for it.
This cool
I'm
as
having
heck.
an instant coffee because I am too lazy to grind beans today. You know, I used to grind my coffee like every day. And then I was like, this is too loud, and I am too lazy. And so I just went back to pre-ground because I'm a schlub. Looked over and Maeve was peacefully eating scrambled eggs off my plate. Oh my
Friggin'
god.
trash cat. Taking Black's
That's
pork
hilarious.
chop, eating your eggs.
Man,
I'm so sorry about your pork chop.
that was a damn shame. It was a damn shame. Pilfering, the pork pilfering pussycat.
Yeah. I was gonna say, there's something really cool about the new Tomodachi Life that they showed off in the trailer is you can now make Miis by description.
What? What?
So like it'll be, you can say like help me, and then it'll ask you to like describe like I think it gives you options, and you can like describe how someone looks instead of making it yourself. And I thought that would be hilarious to
That
make
is
chat.
amazing.
So
Yeah,
that,
have chat
because I don't know
describe
what chat looks
themselves?
like.
Right.
So chat describes themselves. No, it's not AI. It's just like picking options.
Mhm.
But I thought it'd be so funny to use for for chat. So chat can, you know, like choose the options on the screen, right? And tell me how they look, and then I can put them in the game.
I love that.
What's up with this weird tent? What's up with it? I don't know.
I'm sure it isn't evil in any way.
No, I'm sure not. It looks like a cute little teddy bear.
It does have ears. It's very cute.
What are you pecking at? It's fucking cloth. You know what we look like. You've seen me, and Dan looks like Clippy. Oh, it's a bear. Hi, buddy. He's cute. Never judge a bear by his fur. Okay.
Him have a cube.
Him have cute
Big.
ear wiggle.
Yeah, and him
Hi,
have cube.
Hexy.
What's up, Hexy?
Dark Dawn. Cool.
Hexy dog.
Dark Dawn or Dork Dan?
Dork Dan.
Dan's
Is that
catching
you?
strays.
Handsome Dan. Dork Dan. Dude, I want that sword so bad. It looks like a fucking chainsaw. Dork Dan.
Dork Dan.
Dirty Dan.
Which one of you
I'm not gonna
fellas is
buy a
the real
trophy.
Dirty Dan?
I wouldn't take a single dosh from you. But if you want something truly special, step this way and
Got
stand
some
in front
truly
of this bed.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna make a dream island.
Yeah, kind of.
Really?
Well,
I was making an Animal Crossing joke.
it's very.
But he really
it's
is.
like,
He really is dream centric, isn't he?
it's literally like the same startup for it. You know what I mean? Like you lie on a bed and you go to a world of your dreams, and there's all sorts of pinky purple cloudy bullshit. There you go. See, look, magical.
Yeah. Mumble snore. Yeah, that's what I sound like when I'm sleeping.
Mumble snore.
Mumble
Listen
snore.
here, mumble snore.
Listen here, mumble snore.
Is that how we usually start it, Mox, or is it? It's like listen here, and then like like 2-word phrase that we just heard
Yeah.
repeated as an insult. I think that's it.
It's really funny.
We can't. It's like a Dick Tracy
It's
type.
purple
shit.
ginormosia.
See, look, it's literally like it's like somewhere between the hyperspace Lumios and the dream
Yeah.
You know, yeah, anyway.
Japan loves purple, apparently.
Japan also considers it very dreamy.
Snoozealand. Yeah, purple is magic. Is kind of a big thing in color theory. Magic, mystery, royalty.
Well, you got the elements already kind of like accounted for.
Yeah.
When I mean, at least by most people's like categorization of the elements and colorization of the elements. I really I like Persona and Shin Megami Tensei making ice white and lightning purple because they are you know,
Lightning is
it's
purple?
interesting. Yeah, it's great because, you know, like lightning is like if you look at it, it's white because it's fucking literally pure light caused from friction between clouds and magnetic shit. But like if you look at the outlines of it, it's like purpley blue usually. Sometimes it's red, which is crazy. But
I know
that's not
that
as common.
if you get lightning while it's snowing, it's blue.
Yeah. That's sick as fuck.
It's called Thunder Snow.
Thunder
I named
Snow.
my Pakirisu Thunder Snow.
That's so
And then Penny
cute sounding.
I know. And then Penny said that it sounded like a warrior cat's name.
It does sound like a warrior cat's name, actually.
And I was like, I'm okay with this.
I'm okay with this. I should have gotten my other
Alright, bring
pillow.
him stuff and he gives me stuff.
Yeah, so it's basically like the best fucking way to grind.
Cool.
Like it's so good, and you get such neat fucking loot. It's a little unwieldy at first, but like once you start kind of getting it.
Defeat monsters. Get stuff. Whoa, fucking clown guy.
It's funny because I'm looking at your stream.
Yeah,
and so
it's
I'm
like
just
a couple minutes off.
Like, Jack, what the fuck are you talking about? Oh, okay, there it is. Right, yeah.
A snow racing arcade game, Thunder Snow. That'd be sick. Yeah.
Dude, Hydro Thunder is what you're thinking of. That's a good game. I like to be a boat and crash through stuff.
Wow, I sparkled. Swing, sparkle, sparkle. No life.
Yeah, no life.
Oh.
It's like a roguelike kind of shit.
Hmm.
A dream-based roguelike kind of thing.
That's kind of
like
interesting.
No
Only
life,
mounts
yeah, right?
carry over.
Yeah, so I can have a sick-ass motorcycle, but that's it.
Ooh, unfinished, unstable, dangerous area of the world. I'm gonna glitch through that immediately. That just like sounds like an invitation.
Well, I mean, you're welcome to try, but you're gonna have
You
a
take
bad time,
damage.
as they say in the biz.
Well, hold on. Nobody said we were actually doing this. Meanwhile, my character like, oh, fuck yeah. I'm so ready.
Come on, pal, say
Let's
something.
go.
Let's fucking go!
Let's fucking go. Alright. Alright, how do I invite you to this?
Should be. You might have to do the first one on your own. But,
Oh, okay.
just
Some
to
of
get
these
a
say
feel for
boss
it.
on it. Oh, just because they're...
Yeah,
Okay, I
because
see.
it's relevant. Because the boss for this section is a fight.
Got it. Alright, oh, that's fine.
So you're not totally screwed if you ended up picking only one particular thing. You're like, wait a minute. Oh no. I didn't get any lives that actually fight the
Look at
boss.
these
You're like,
toys.
you know.
They're so cute.
Yeah, the rest of them are timed.
Ta-da! Slime.
I love that this slime's a little
His
cute
fucking
in
hand.
this.
Alright. Cool. Do you
Man, it's nice to
hit
see this
thing.
not slowing down.
What's not slowing down?
It's nice to see it not slowing down, because
Oh,
whenever
the
it gets
game,
to
yeah.
that section when it opens up on the Switch one, it's like, ah.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, man, listen. Whack.
Yep. Wow, look, boxes. Why are they just like cardboard moving boxes?
Amazon.
The modern things in this game is really funny to me.
They crack me up. I love the like Amazon tape and everything. Like it's so stupid. It's really good. I miscalculated with my pillow placement. Oh.
Got item.
What item?
Mac. Ooh, armor.
Y'alls. The armoire.
The armoire.
There we go. Alright.
Just fucking ore.
Or what?
Yeah.
Rear. Excuse me. Oof.
I want to be a paladin. Not this magician bullshit. Being a hater for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
I like sword better than. It's hard to aim the magic.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, he's so cute. Little mimic guy. The sleepy vibe is getting to us, I think.
Definitely.
Gotta lock on. Yeah.
Gotta lock in, chat.
I'm bad at that. I can't.
Yeah,
fucking...
magic is easier
God.
to.
He got me. Now I'm just headbanging. Okay.
This shit is funny. Run into stuff. Anything that is breakable, from enemies to
Oh, wow.
trees to everything. Just
Just run into shit. That's really funny. Just run around. Oh, I could get Glenn. Or I could get Sorcerer's Shoes. No, I want Glenn. My buddy.
it's Glenn.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
I love that it like is kind of a gacha game a little bit. with the buddies. Cuz you have to, if you want the one that you like, you have to find them.
You must locate them.
You must locate.
buddies. I must find friends.
Magic is so easy, just lock on, literally can't miss.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh man, I need to see what I need to do to make my hammer of time. Because I think literally the only way I'm gonna be able to craft the new recipes is if me and each of my blacksmith buddies have a hammer of time. That's how high level they are.
Whoa.
Like literally like that, and I'm gonna have to drink some crafty juice. Like that. I was like, holy shit. That is definitely like that. You thought it was post-game content before? Bitch, look at this shit. Oh god, wow, jeez. Okay.
Moxie's good with Archer, for sure.
Yeah, she's really good with Archer. I like a big ol' wackaroo of mercenary.
Mm-hmm.
Paladin is like is so good. It's so good. I like the counterattack.
I love Paladin. I like that they are fast
Mm-hmm.
because I'm impatient. Oh
It's
god.
good for button mashing, and it's like really well rounded.
I'm a button masher type gamer.
Yeah.
I really don't have the patience to like strategize.
It's funny because one thing I was kind of looking forward to for the new Fantasy Life is you might recall the combat system, at least for like definitely for Mercenary. I'm not as sure if it was so specific for other ones, but there was a timing based combo system. Like you could extend combos by hitting the attack button at a very specific time. And it was really rewarding actually. It was like ba 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 ba. Like you that determined how far you went into the combo, and it like by the time you reached creator level or whatever it was called, right? It was like it was God in the original. You're a god of this, but they're like can't have that not in my Christian United States. You could do like you could just keep going for like 10 hits and you started doing crazy shit. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh man, yeah, it's a very very unique one of a kind combat system. I'm looking forward to doing that again, and they just kind of changed it in favor of
Yeah.
like simplified it, which is fine. It's still really satisfying, but it's like it was I never played anything like that in a combat context, and I was like, this is I kind of miss it.
What's happening to my controller?
You're losing control of it.
Well, it's like maybe if I unplug the other controller, maybe it's like pressing a button.
Wow.
3 legendary Dawn Horns, 1 legendary Diamond.
It's just like kind of being laggy.
That's a shame. Unplug and replug your controller.
Yeah, I tried that. It's fine.
Yeah, jeez.
Yeah,
jeez.
This isn't like a game that I need to be super precise with, so.
Yeah, it's probably alright.
I think it's okay.
What?
Oh, it's a little guy. Oh, it's a way for him to talk to me. Okay. Oh no, he's just behind me for some reason. Okay, cool.
He's right
alchemy
behind me,
robot.
isn't he?
It's cute.
Look how cute it is. This would be like that's like a me design circa like 2010 or whatever, man. It's
Yeah.
so cute. I was like, yeah.
It's a little guy.
This little guy. So this is where the magic happens, so they say. As they say in biz.
Cool. Kind of shady if you ask me. I didn't. Oh, the pig! The pig is so cute!
Because, yeah, I like the pig. It's very precious.
They're all really cute, but the
It's
pig...
King Cheap Cheap or whatever it is in the middle. That little bird guy. That's where it's at.
Nightmare Water. Nightmare Herb. Wow, these names are so creative.
You know?
Gets the point across, that's all it needs.
That's all it needs.
That's all it needs. Alright, well he gave me a bunch of this, so we'll do that. Wow. Got a Sword of Darkness. Sick. And I got... I'll take the pickaxe. That's good. Nice. Alright, I gotta beat the boss so that I can invite you and we can play together.
Yeah! Sorry, I was looking at... I remember... Am I tripping? Is oh, I gotta go real quick. One sec. I'll be right back.
Mm-hmm. It's just you and me, chat. All alone. Take that. Aniwa. Oh, look at the frog one! I love him! He's so cute. I gotta get in here for the thing? Did I just like miss the entrance entirely somehow? Apparently, I'm a dumbass, but it's fine. That's what you're all here for. To watch me be a dumbass. Because it's entertaining or whatever. Bitch, don't shoot honey at me. A bear cleaver. Sick. I don't know if I keep this stuff. You know nothing about this game, I've only seen the title. It's good. It's a good game. I love it a lot. Alright, angry zombies. Can I keep my level? Or am I just leveling up really fast? Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're good. I think I just level up really fast here. Nice. A Joker, Spooky. Yeah, he's fucking dead. He's so dead. So dead. That was so fast. Wow. Oh, little loading thing for its trip. It's really cute. You guys can't see. There he is. Oh no, a little scared face. Don's dreamy deals. You again? What'd you expect, man? You'll receive dream points based on each item's value. Exchange them for any item you like. You can get away with a lot of dumbassery. Oh, because you don't know the game. Yeah, that's fair. Items found within dreams will vanish the moment you wake up, so don't be a timid cub. Go ahead and sell them all. Okay. Cool.
Deep. I'm back. Hello.
Welcome
Alright,
back.
sorry. I was in the restroom on the in like a little, I made myself a little setup with like pillows and shit over towels and stuff, nice and clean and comfy because we were gonna do Baldur's Gate, but then when we couldn't, I was still set up in there, and then Maki's like, "Get the fuck out of here!" So I was like, "Okay, cool." So I set back up. No longer in the restroom now. You're not streaming from
That's
the
fair.
No, I'm not. Not anymore, Ham. Those days are behind me. Apparently,
So,
but
okay,
yeah, this is so one thing about this that is great is this is the best place to get those fucking legendary items that you need to make
yeah.
the blanks of time.
So should
So
I
see that? Look
not
at
be
that.
buying stuff until I can get those? Like, does the
No,
points
no.
stack up?
So the points do not. So anything that you earn, it's like a shopping spree, basically, right?
You
So you
have to
earn
use
as many nightmare points as you can in each individual run, and then when it's done, everything that you have is everything that you have. You just spend what you can. Keep in mind what the prices are for stuff next time, and that's kind of the name of the game.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
You really
Did
want
you
to be
break a nail
collecting
over
as much as you can.
It's a lot easier with 2 people, or the more people you
I
have.
got
the more you
420
use.
points. Yeah. Can't
What
do
is it?
anything with them, so they're just there.
One moment. Oof.
Got an ultra. Oh, I've got an ultra rare item. Okay. Oh, gold star hood. Wait, that's adorable. That's really funny. That's a D20. That right there. D20.
What about the
Okay.
acoustics? Well, see, Hobbyham, one way that you could mitigate the lack of reverb from me not streaming from the restroom is you just repeat what I'm saying slightly after when I say it, and then it's like an interactive stream for you specifically. In fact, try along at home, kids. Say what I'm saying slightly after I say it. It's like reverb. Wow.
That's.
Anyway. I'm gonna drink some coffee.
I don't remember. I probably need all of these at some point. I get 3
I'm always
of them.
doing that. Sounds exhausting.
That does sound exhausting.
The
There's no
horn-
echo in your house. Oh, it's just ham from the walls.
Oh wow, you're really good at imitating. But yeah,
Something about this teal meat is not
is that
appealing.
enough sweetener in your tea? Okay, I can get you more sweetener. Let me get you more sweetener.
I love that face that Moxie does.
That is the best. That is the best. It's like a squawking bird.
Yeah.
I'll be right back. Okay, if you want to set up a session, I can join even when I'm not in voice chat. So
Okay.
yeah, be right back.
I'm just looking at. I want this star hood. I think it's funny. A good trip. Sleeping. Eepy bird. We're back to Aether Reach. Thank you, posture check. Yes. I'm sitting up straight, I promise. You won't even let us sleep for free. Ash nut. Where do I get cash nuts from? Yeah, it's called Pleck. Go put more honey in this. Make sure to bring enough cash nuts. Okay. Play together. Oh yeah, okay. It's just the same as always then. I'm just gonna make sure.
Hello.
Oh.
All right, you got a thingamathing going. Let's frickin' get it.
Okay.
Where'd the game go?
I'm setting passwords and stuff.
Oh, superlative, wonderful, fantastic, tremendous. Online play. Ay, ay, ay. I did ham. Ignoramus. Alright, begin outlaw bookish. Thanks. I imagine this is similar to what it looks like in your ham den. The tech support. Oh, me and Ignoramus? Yeah, what you gonna do about it? If you hit Jack with a barrage, I probably will get hit by one of the little bits of debris. So. Yeah, I do it.
Hey.
Yeah.
Oi.
Shield me, Jack. Shield me. Oh, thanks. Thank you so. Ow, fuck. I heard. I definitely saw my
Delayed
my
reaction
little.
because you can't see it on.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, I'm just like a slowpoke. You hit with an attack. It is just
It's
like.
like a really slow reaction. Alright, I'm gonna mute for the stream for a second.
Yeah. Dingus. Oh yeah. Yeah, cool.
Alright, chat can now hear me.
You know,
Okay.
hello. That's
And
so
I
brave
can-
of you to commute. No outings were found. No outings were found.
Oh, the keyword is literally on my screen. That's really funny. Well, they still don't know the password, so haha.
It's the working for me. Oh, does it need to be capitalized like a big dumb idiot?
It might be.
Why they do that? I guess that's fine. Boop. No outings were found. There's one. Hey, what's up there? What's up there, Jackaroo?
What's up?
Beep, 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 beep.
Tech support doesn't live in your walls with me, though. I commute.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah. Blackvote has arrived.
I'm here. Astoya Keep. That's my line. Don't you forget. that's yeah, that's what this game is called, right?
Yeah. Sure. Whatever you say.
Alright, here I am to save the day. Which means that Mighty Mouse is on the way.
Yeah.
And at 10.
Alright, let's go.
Oh yeah. I'm ready. Cool fucks the shit
Ready,
up.
ready. Wait, did I do the?
Did you hit ready up?
I'm gonna head out to Eternia Village.
Your voice is making me sleepier.
No.
Well, fucking sue me, alright? Make the coffee kick in faster, ham. Ah, shit.
Also,
How
the
do I
password
run?
literally just like shows itself to fucking.
This is a game in the future where you stream. This is a future where you stream. You can't just be showing that shit all over.
How
These
do I
guys.
do the thing? I don't know how to do the thing.
Go
What?
to the. You hit R right bumper. Hit right bumper.
No, I know, but it's a fucking snooze
No, it's in
land.
the. Go to the tent. To
I
the
got
bed.
it. I figured it out.
Jack used to wakes me up with their perky attitude. You know, you could stick that perk right up your hoo. I don't give a fuck.
Perky
I'm gonna drink some more
attitude is funny.
Percocet.
All right. I got it. You got to ready up again because I changed it.
Son of a hooer. All right, here we go. Whoop. Oh, fighting is scary, man. Let's go. That guy's not actually scary.
Enter the dream. Oh, I got 74 cash nuts.
Ah, nuts.
I got plenty of
Dude.
cash nuts.
I got like literally 6,000.
Blake doesn't have a stream avatar. I can't bomb them. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
I
Blake's
do.
not in chat.
Oh, you mean
You have to be like actively chatting because I didn't want to call out lurkers.
Oh.
Let's go.
I'm exposed. All right, let's go. Who will I be? Mercenary. Actually, the squire's sword is more
I'll do
powerful.
mercenary.
Yes.
We've swapped.
We swapped.
I didn't get a paladin option.
What's the world coming to? Oh, we don't have anything for that. All right, let's fucking get
We
it.
got Amazon. It's a hat.
Amazon. Defeat two and go. Oh, well, it's. the fuck out of my life, you little woolly boy. Yeah. Hey, look, I got sandals. Socks and sandals. Okay. Yes, legionary sandals.
No, don't do it.
Superlative. They're not socks. I was wrong.
Do not socks with sandals.
Why are you bombing me, dog? All right, I'm gonna
Thank you for
defeat
lurking,
these...
Hexy.
Fuck, I'm gonna defeat these sand glims. Yo-ha!
Hey, Kenjamin is Dunyan Rings with their work meetings.
Oh yeah! Watch out! Watch out! Watch out!
I saw it, but I couldn't stop my combo.
Ooh, you see that perfect guard? Because I'm fucking perfect. Oof. Ah. Get out of here, chump. Get out of here, chump. Chump sauce. How do you lock on? There we go. Trying to use my legends controls, man. Trying to use my freaking... Oh, it's slowing down. There you go. Hands like, get over here.
Topaz ring.
A dope ass ring, you say?
Yeah.
Anyway, let's remember our mounts.
Oh,
Keep
right.
one training dummy, because that's how you get around. Oh, that's a lot of shadow sharks.
Wait, how do I mount?
What did I just do? Left bumper. Wow, bro, nice shoes.
Ah, there it is. Oh yeah, I have this sick ass unicorn.
Sorry, I was being accosted by shadow sharks. Oh, headbang.
My mount can't jump up here.
Get bonked, you silly little turds. Pow, 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 pow. So yeah, when that happens, you just bonk literally everything in sight.
Good. Nice.
It's great. Hey, look, a pickaxe. Free! What's this, huh? I like stopping
Take
to pick
this,
things up.
birds.
I'm gonna get you. Oh, I ran out of head bonkaroonies.
No.
Right as I got to that tree. Tree at last. Tree at last. Yo! I like how ugly
Fucking
some of the
frog.
enemies are. It's actually pretty great. Because usually the Kirby conundrum applies and it's just like, aw, I must murder it. In this game, we're just like, wow, this guy's ugly as fuck. Let's get him.
This guy's ugly. This bitch ugly. Yeet.
It's only marginally better. I will continue to be a pal of din. Which is true. I'm a pal of din. Oh, hey, here it is. There's the guy, the training dummy. This
Hey.
man. I'll get him. Ah.
Oh, it's cute.
Okay, it is cute. What? Ain't. Yeah, saintly slash, baby.
I think mine was earthquake.
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 Yeah.
Penny and I started playing yesterday. We were like, man, we're done streaming, but we're not really done like playing Pokemon. Like,
Yeah.
what do we do?
Never done.
And so we were like, well, why don't we play Brilliant Diamond and fucking whatever Pearl?
Sharding Pearl.
Oh, it's a drowsy mimic.
By the way, anytime you see any of the little robot fellas, you just poke them with A, and then you can fast travel to them. It's nice.
Oh, cool.
I literally read it's Great Sword of Yore. I read Great Sword of Vor, and I was like, what kind of a fucking game is this? Anyway, here we go. We got a silver hoe.
Oh, headbang!
Yeah, run into guys. There's a guy over here. There's a guy golem. Ooh,
There's
Amazon.
some veggies over here. I'm gonna get them.
Yeah. Hey, an axe. Nito mosquito.
Nito, mosquito.
Gotta find 13 white pumpkins.
I need more things to hit with my head.
Whoop. Whoop. Oh, I found pumpkin.
Come here, I was gonna get this guy a golem, and I lost my headbang as soon as I did.
You're gonna get who a golem?
Guy
Gonna get this guy a golem? Ha ha ha.
Gonna get this guy a golem.
Anyway.
I forgot how to play this game.
Same.
I know there's a dodge button somewhere.
I'm aiming for exclusively treasures.
But yeah, so we decided to name our Pokemon after natural disasters. So like I was talking about my Pakirisu earlier,
Yeah,
Thunder Snow.
Thunder Snow.
I've also got a soon-to-be Empoleon, who is Tsunami.
Tsunami, yeah, nice.
Let's see, what else do I have?
Minami is Tsunami, you know what I mean?
Penny has a Baniri named Landslide, which is really funny.
Oh,
And also, her Torterra is Earthquake.
Ah, that does make sense.
But it's really funny every time she's like,
Earthquake, use Earthquake.
No! Landslide, no!
Hey,
really funny.
there we go. Time to farm.
Farming time! Time for
Oh
farming!
yeah, area clear.
Yay!
Wow, I forgot there were cherries in this game.
Yeah.
It's not important, it's just an observation. Oh, big fish
I got
shadow.
nightmare fruits instead of cherries.
Oh no!
Like, this is not a cherry. This is
I'll
a
take that.
nightmare.
I'm getting my ass beat by bunnies because it's not actually pausing. Yep, in fact, wow. Well, what do you know about that? One big fish.
I'll save you from the bunnies.
Thank you. What happened if I
Ooh,
touched?
drowsy mimic. Where?
Back. There we go.
Why are you trying to pause?
I was not. I was literally looking in a chest that I just opened. And it wasn't pausing, so bunnies were just biting my fucking asshole over here.
No.
That's
You
no
said
good.
there was a drowsy mimic. Where is it?
You can see it on the map, I think. Energy powder.
I can't see shit.
What? All right. So we've got 12 minutes left. We opened the boss warp, but we could still squeeze. Basically, what I like to do is we tag as many of the little fellas as possible, right? Which we did not do because I forgot anyway. Because you could fast travel between them, and then you just there's a cooldown. Excuse me. There's a cooldown. After you activate them. So what you do is you activate the ones that you're most interested in and hop between them and then come back. Basically, like, I usually just stock up on as much as I possibly... Oh, no! As much as I possibly can. I'll say, go up! And then I... Yeah!
I didn't realize how low health I was, or I wouldn't have picked a fight with the wolves.
Yeah, you stock up on a bunch of shit, though, and then you kind of hover around, pollinating. Ah, fuck, I tried to hit the A button. It's not the A button. Here you go, buddy. Be healed!
Yay, okay, there we go.
Alright, awesome.
Full health.
Alright, so... Full health. Nice of him. Amazon box. Oh,
How
yeah.
the fuck did you ride up the wall? What?
It's a new feature. Do-do-do. It's a new
Is that just the
feature.
motorcycle that does that?
Do-do. Nope, everything. All your mounts can run up walls now. Alright, so...
I
We only
thought
have
can't
this
run up
one.
walls? What?
Yeah, maybe you have to activate it. But, oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Chomp Leaf now. I don't know what that means. I don't know why they call him Chomp Leaf now.
Get back here, bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There we go.
headband dream. Headbang dream. Let's fucking
Headbang
go.
dream. Alright, so you got 2 Leafness. I think you need to find the guy that's a panther or something in Genermosia. Yeah, that's correct. That is correct. That sounds correct.
Come here, wolf. Haha. Get wrecked.
Let's go. Get fucked. Drowsy Mac appeared. What happened if I touch it?
Another one.
Slurping up the walls. Yeah, it also speeds up your mount and gives him a double jump. It's great. It's like literally like there's no downside to it. You love to see it.
I've been poisoned.
What castle?
Oh, I have an
Hey, it's a
energy powder.
blacksmith fella. I get it. Wow. Hey, an even better claymore.
A grateful looking statue?
Well, oh, so
What is this?
answer in ways that would flatter Mr. Bearman.
Horses are
You'll
just so
learn.
scary, aren't they? You'd never want to get one, right? But if you were, which would you prefer? Ho ho ho, purely out of curiosity,
Oh.
of course.
Oh.
Same outfit forever or same meal forever?
Oh. I don't remember the answer to that one.
Same
Kind of trial
outfit
and
forever?
error.
Maybe?
I don't know, man.
Same outfit.
Oh, DX.
Wearing the same outfit wouldn't bother me at all. I mean, I'm barely clothed already. Yeah,
Barely
okay.
close already.
Those are both just autism. You right? Oh, that's cool.
Level 48, yeah. Level 48, yeah. Ooh.
Oh, I found the mimic. Come here.
Hot damn.
Oh, another Bam Headbang dream.
Woo! Another
I
great
need to
sword
find
of
something I can
yeah.
hit with my face.
Alright, so I tagged another leaf boy or a blacksmith boy. Oh, thanks for the level up, I guess. Alright, no, leave me alone. Leave me alone, Buffalo. Oh, Buffalo. Oh, Buffalo. Oh, no. Alright,
Wow, there's so many chests over here.
I'm going north. Mm-hmm. I'll tag that little man. Hey, leave me alone, man. Every time it says monsters, Moxie and I quote the One Punch Man theme song. Goodbye, monsters! Every time. That's what I think. Oh, it's a little devil man. But not devil man, crybaby. That's an anime that I should watch. But I heard it's a bummer.
What anime?
Devilman Crybaby. Based on the Devilman manga from like the fucking 70s or whatever, which is apparently I looked at that dude's design and I was like, wait a minute, all of these other designs are just a fucking reference to him. What the hell? So I'm just like, if it's this influential, I really have to fucking read it.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that.
Devilman. Another blacksmith man. So cute. We still got 6 minutes, dog.
Yeah.
I think I only have one more to tag. Then I can go on a shopping spree. Going straight down. Oh, snake. Oh, snake. Nah. Snake. Snake? There we go.
Whoa! I got all
Eh.
sorts of good stuff.
Check out all the gleaming spots.
Apple
What the hell is that?
slicer!
Apple slicer.
Apple
Oh, yeah.
slicer!
Oh, a grateful looking statue. You can warp to me. You can only add 3 members to your party. Choosing who to bring along could be tough, yes. Now if you only had one spot left, who would you invite to join you? Fuck. Don't answer.
I think there's some of this stuff over here only you can pick up. I did the
Oh, weird.
alchemy thing.
Oh, good. It's pick someone richer. Oh, I see. He paralyzed me. Asshole. Snake! What's up, kids? Yes. Alright, Meow, 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 meow. Alright, I will go to where you are in just a mo.
Yeah. I'll hang
what
out over
hand?
here so you know where the stuff is.
What's what? Oh. Thanks. 5 minutes.
Only you can prevent forest fires.
I won't. I will
Only you can
them.
cause forest fires.
All right. What power? Yeah, it's better. Battleborn Queerus.
I love
My
the like
queer ass.
chaotic vibe of my outfit right now. Another drowsy
yeah.
mimic. I don't even know where it is.
Nobody accost me. Nobody accost me, please. Oh my fuck. Oh my shit. Got so many experience
Oh,
points.
he's ready to give him more materials. That's cool.
Ah. Wah. Hold on. I must.
I don't really have anything
Yes!
that's like high
It's King
value
Tweet Tweet,
materials.
motherfucker! Alright, I'm gonna activate this warp to me.
Okay.
Shit is dope. Here he goes. King Tweet Tweet. Boop, boop. I'm foraging a rare item. 4-star rarity and up guaranteed. What you waiting for? Alright, so auto toss, baby. Auto toss. Stun. Oh, yeah. So you want as many of those little gold clusters as possible. Alright, you warp to me? You warp to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whoa.
I think I
That's so
warped
many
to
frames.
myself, and that was really stupid.
That was not the thing that you should be doing. Warp to me. Yes. Yes. So you're
An
about the
order
order
of
amongst.
monks that tried to open a flower shop?
Alright, so just hit auto toss, which should be left trigger.
Okay.
And then it'll toss in exactly what you need, and let's fucking eat up, dog.
Whee!
I'm a hungry boy.
Ooh, I got
Oh,
a gold
all that stuff
cluster.
for you. Yes. Ooh, that's a good sword. Take that. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, and it's and I'll give you my fishing pole. True rod of time. Ain't nobody need that fancy
True
ass
hole
rod.
of time.
I'm the true hoe of time, veritably. So if you do auto toss, it prioritizes tossing treasures, so you have less at the end, but it does save a lot of time. Oh, really? Yeah, then it's not worth it because treasures are really nice, but it does toss in exactly the amount.
I got
But it
two
takes
true
less
hoes of time.
Two true hoes of time.
Two true
Only
hoes.
Only you can stop florist friars. You're a piece of shit, Kenj. You're a vandal, a villain, and a scoundrel. It's pretty good. Yeah, thank you. Good job. Thank you, Ham. Reckless abandon, extreme prejudice.
Hey, don't run!
Well
Don't
done.
run away from me, you motherfucker! Get off of them!
All right, so now I'm gonna warp to each of. I'm gonna do the Leafy Boys. I'm gonna do the Leafy Boys because we have enough. Actually, what is the Monzinger Z? It's a reference. Joke was perfect. I don't know what you're talking about. It's really incredible. I think Mr. Oh, I can still take more. Hand over those materials. All right, here you go, buddy. That's what it says. That's what it says. Yeah. Why is it not loading? I'm a veggie. Get it. This is can't toss in anymore. Okay. Too cool. How you doing, man? You doing, bro?
Did not work
Okay.
because I was also in the menu. Maybe that
I
fucked it
don't
up.
think so.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, this is the time where I would ordinarily be waking up. Oh, there it is. The button. I'm so stupid. There we go. I didn't see the right button. I like this man's cauldron body. Thanks, dude. Thanks, bro. Artificer's coat. It's more balanced. I think we're fighting against a dude who does physical attack. Magician's pride. Yeah. Ooh. Sack of secrets. Show you a sack of secrets. Alright, there we go. Don't equip. What's Stitch doing here? Stitch lost! Alright, real loss. Alright, now I'm gonna go to... How much time we have left? Like 3 minutes?
5 seconds.
Oh, let's go to the boss then. Ah, we're fucked. Ah, we're fucked. I'm sorry, I got so swept up in the nonsense. That's fine. That's alright.
I just trusted
We
you.
We still got a lot of stuff. No, I'm too tired. I wasn't paying attention. It's fine.
Go to the portal.
Portal. Too late.
Sorry.
It's all right. I think what you get generally is more treasure. You have a chance of getting a gold cluster and stuff.
Mission failed.
It's fine. First try. Hey, look at the same hat. Hey, there we go. Look, see, we still got a bunch of stuff.
Oh, if the host goes through the portal, you both warp in for the future. Oh, cool.
Wow.
I got a bronze bear trophy.
Bronze bear. Red Dandy Dream points. Did it? Alright,
Ride along plushling?
Wow.
yeah, it's on your head.
It goes on your head?
It's cute.
That's really funny.
I think they adjusted the levels of... Well, maybe not. I seem to remember one of the things that I was trying to make being, like, literally you need to be, like, 6,000 or something, and they were like, how about you don't do that? And they were like, okay, sorry. Sorry about that. Getting some tasty,
I guess I should
delicious...
get the...
Some Dawn stuff.
As much as I can, just get the, legendary stuff.
Yeah. Oh, look, I can get some dark metal, too. The Dark Magician! Tall grass, tall grass. And then green grass grew all around and around. Whip. All right. Unused points will disappear. It's fine. Well, that was good. That was good. I kind of remember how to play the game now, which is great.
Yay! Yeah, me too.
All right. Warm up. That's it. It was just a warm up.
I got one gold cluster.
Oh, unused points will disappear. Yeah, I can't spend them on anything, so fuck. All right.
I know girls dress. Oh, Celestia doll. That's really cute.
Boop. Do recipes. Recipe. Oh, look how much. Oh, cool. It shows you what you're missing now. Oh. I'm gonna see how much more crap I need to grab to get my silly, silly hammer of time. One more Dawn Horn, one shiny diamond. We can get that in the next run. Yeah, that's the regular hammer of time, so I need to show it to the cougar and be like, that ain't shit. You want to see a real hammer of time? And be like, all right. Just buy this times like 3. Do this 3 more times. Let me eat my English muffin. Legend of Badness. That's what it's called. All right. Yeah, I'm just gonna ready up so that I'll be dragged along whenever.
Alright, let's go.
Eat my English muffin with eggs in it. Even though it smells slightly of blueberry.
Yeah, what is up with that?
Dude, I don't know.
They're supposed to be sourdough. They don't smell like sourdough. They smell sweet.
Smell like blueberries. Why do they
I
smell like
don't
blueberries?
like it.
Oh.
I made myself an English muffin yesterday as a little snack. And I opened the package and I was like, what is this?
What is this?
This is waiting for other members.
What? God damn it, I said ready. Ooh. All right, anyway.
There we go.
This fucking game over here.
Let's go enter the dream.
So remember that if you see a little UFO shape and it is grayed out, slap it on the noggin.
Got it.
And then you can fast travel between them. Yeah, and also prioritize King Tweet Tweet. Whatever we could do to get as many gold clusters as possible.
Yeah.
That is what we should be doing. Booga booga booga. All right, what we got?
Let's go.
Magician, Paladin.
I have Hunter or Magician. I'm bad at both of these.
I'm gonna use Magician.
I'll do Hunter then.
Yeah.
The Dark Magician! I don't even care. I mean, it doesn't matter if we overlap. I'm not, like, tripping about it.
No. I don't think it matters either. I'm just didn't really know either way which I wanted to do.
Ah. Destroy 3 big black cardboard boxes. It's cut off. It does not help. I'm like, come on, man. Come on, bro. Ah, bees! Ah, bees!
Big black what?
That's what I'm saying, man. It says big black cardboard box. What it is? See up there in the
Seriously
corner
though,
of your
how
screen?
the heck are you riding up walls? Because I cannot.
Oh yeah, you should go to Gynemosia and get that. We have Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl. I love Dark Magician Girl. She's the best.
Girl.
I'm a Dark Magician Squirrel. You know, asking the hard-hitting questions there, Kench. Like that thing. Go. Life unlocked. Tight. Brrr. Look at me. I'm like freaking Dante from the Devil May Cry series. Brrr. There's the little guy. Look. There it is. There's a man. Tagged his little face, and he's like, Luma Lee, Luma Bop, welcome to the Luma shop. That's what he's like, in spirit.
That's what he's like.
That's what he's like, you know? Hey, look, a better pine staff. Dipper Pines.
I'm gonna
Alright, there it is.
go
It's mine.
this way and see if I can get.
These
There's
bats
one
look like
over
shit.
here.
I love it.
I saw a thing.
Defeat 6-head Honeywa. Honey, what? Dude, those little hands that they spawn are genuinely terrifying. I was like, why are you doing that, man? That's disgusting. You stop that.
Yeah, there's a little guy here.
Good song. Alright, perfect.
Harvest 11 shadow carrots.
Mercenary time. Mercenary time. I'm a mercenary. With an area worry in the world.
Where are these shadow carrots?
I might actually get into Yu-Gi-Oh if we had that. I mean, that sounds like a toon card from when they had toon cards. like Maximilian Pegasus. Yu-Gi Boy, who's voiced by fucking James' voice actor
Also,
from Pokemans.
Can't
Because poor
harvest
kids be
shit.
like that. I can't harvest
Oh,
shit.
a very full looking statue.
I'm a miner. Oh no, now I can no longer
looks
vote or drink.
Power.
Okay.
For equipment.
What were the two options? Water power.
Looks or power.
Power. Well, power.
Yeah.
Big power.
Let's go power.
Knowing what bear like.
Yeah, if you want the best of both worlds, use outfits. And he gave me a gold gold cluster.
What? He gave you a gold cluster?
Yeah.
Dang. Oof. Oof. Incredible.
Isn't I supposed to harvest?
I heard 4 kids was actually just 3 kids in a trench coat. The name was very misleading. Wow, you know? You think you know a guy.
I don't have any harvesting power, but it says to harvest 11 shadow carrots, so.
That means we need to get a life. Hello,
Get a
Drowsy
life.
Mimic. Happy Angel Dream. I don't remember what it does.
I like the king in the first game who's like, you know, go out, live your life, pick fucking daisies if you want. I don't give a shit. Oh, there, I got a silver hoe, okay. It's not great, but it works.
Ooh. Sneaky supper. So if I stay here while the angel's around, he'll bestow upon me nice gifts.
What?
There's a happy angel dream, and there's a little fella floating above my head, and he's sprinkling me with gifts. Sprinkling me with little gifts.
That's
I
nice.
don't know when he stops, but that's cool.
I don't know when he stops.
Yeah, I don't know if I have to leave. Thank you, man. Thank you. Wow. Thank you, bro. Because if you leave areas, the drowsy time gift that you would get from, you know, the drowsy time you get
there's
from the
too
drowsy
many
mimic
guys
disappears.
There's
Wait,
too
15
many
minutes.
guys here.
No. Too many guys here. Alright, you getting killed?
A little bit.
A minor injury. Alright, I'm going. Here. That's only hearsay is what that is. 3 shadow carrots. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah.
Okay, I'm no longer dying. I can just shoot them normal now.
Huzzah!
I leveled up, I guess.
Hey, look, headbang dream, please, 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 please. Dejected devil dream. Oh, I gotta go. You gotta go. Oh, I gotta go. I think if you go in the water, it's fine. Oh, Jesus. PS. Oh, PS.
Oh,
Where's water?
no.
You don't need this junk. Stop it. Oh. Okay, hold on. Dog person to cat first. Bears. Oh, you could pet me for like one touch, one cashnut. You're a funny man. Alright.
I just
Stop taking my
forgot what buttons to press.
Hey, what the heckins? Dude, I left. And he's still accosting me. Hi, I'm in the water now, stupid. Oh, it's still
no.
here. Yeah, it's still here.
Night.
Leave me alone. Oh, he's throwing away all my treasure.
I want to harvest these freaking shadow carrots. Leave me
Fucking
alone.
dickhead. I thought you used to be able to... get rid of them if you, you know, went into the water or went into a new area, but I guess that is not the case anymore. Oh, you don't have a life?
No, I do.
What?
I know I can harvest these. How do I get the... Why is it not showing me the harvest button?
Oh, stop slapping me. Oh, you woolies. You woolly Williams.
You mimic. Get back here. Okay, I got headbang dream. That works.
Yeah, fuck them up. Hit those carrots. Oh, nice. What's this? Slap, slap, slap. Neat. Oh no, I didn't mean to change that. Ooh, and now bunnies are hitting me.
Oh
You'll
no,
rue the
the
day.
bunnies.
What? Earthquake. Ancient Mac boots. Painter's gloves.
I need a few
Guantes.
more shadow carrots.
Es como se dice gloves en español, guantes. All right, I found farmer powers. Power of farmer. Form of a farmer. I don't have a life, that's why I'm here. Haha. Oh shit, I wasn't keeping up with chat. You should get into Yu-Gi-Oh, Ken. It's just lit. It was. Now it kind of sucks. Literally, it's like you could win a match in the first turn. Like, your guy doesn't even have a chance to do anything. Like, the opponent doesn't even have a chance to do anything. It's like, what the fuck is the point, man?
I play Blue Eyes White Dragon. That's all I know.
There it is. My blue eyes! Yeah. Alright, we got the area clear. It's clear.
Oh, we got the
Yeah,
carrots?
it's really... Oh, I just play with my pals. Yeah, it's like, there's a couple... the current meta is, like, fucking awful. Just awful. I used to play all the time. I had an E-hero deck because I'm very predictable. It's like tokusatsu shit, you know what I mean?
The bees!
Oh my eyes!
Leave me alone! 3 pieces
Streamer
of big
Jack
black
accosted.
cardboard, huh?
Big, you know what I mean? Like, why do they call it that? Why do they call it that?
Oh, there's a drowsy mimic.
Cosmic. Hey, look, I see a twinkly over here for me. Thank you. Spooky staff. Oh, it's got a ghost on it.
Ooh, that's appropriate for you.
It is. Yeah, child, leave enough alone. All right. All these things suck. There we go. Thank you. I'll take the least sucky. Big black cardboard, yeah, yeah.
Leave me alone!
Yeah, yeah. Where's that big black cardboard? There it
Fuck.
is. Oh,
I have a life cure,
Please.
it's fine.
ape gore. Ah, throw apples at me, dude. What do you think this is? What do you think this is, man? I miss all my cool
Got
skills. Way to
it.
go! Wow! Wow. Yeah.
Where's
Ayo.
the... Is there
Ayo.
a guy in here? There's a mimic over there.
Hot damn. We got 9 minutes.
Okay. I'm definitely paying attention.
Yeah. Alright, here we go. On my motorcycle. I don't want a pickle. I just want to ride my motorcycle. Ah, did I just jump on their head? That was
Okay.
cool.
Bam, headbang!
What happens in 9 minutes? The world ends.
Yep.
So, you know. See ya. Dude, King Tweet Tweet. I'm
heading over.
R-A-R-E item. Beep. Alright. Toss in. So yeah, you could just boop. And boop. And boop. Nightmare veggie. Nightmare meat. That sounds terrifying.
Nightmare meat.
Alright, whoa, jeez, whoa, wow, alright, no treasures to speak of. No treasures whatsoever. Alright. Toss them in. Did it. I'm tossing in a whole bunch of garbage. Oh, it's a happy boy. I welcome the peace of the fort. Here we go. 1, nothing wrong with me. 2, nothing wrong with me. 3, nothing wrong with me.
Do I need to add stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
4. So
How about some nightmare water?
Oh. That's like the water that's in some places that if you drink it once you end up shitting yourself for like the rest of the week.
Yeah.
Where you just cannot drink
I
tap
have
water.
a lot of great stuff. There we go. That's enough. Yeah, that's fine.
I'll make you listen to that song. You could stop doing it, stupid. What song? I don't even remember.
Whoa!
Wow, yeah, I got 2 gold clusters.
I could get another gold cluster from this. Hell yeah. I got fucking 3 gold
I
clusters.
love it when that happens.
I got a fucking true sword of time.
Me too, sword of time.
Let's go, sword of time.
Pickaxe.
Box.
Pickaxe.
Pegasus plate armor.
Wow. Look at all that tasty shit.
Yeah, tasty
Was that yet
shit.
stronger? Is that yet stronger? Nido mosquito. I'm very allergic to mosquitoes. Alright, great. Super. Don't equip that shit. Jax. Yeah, that's so much.
What? What did I do?
Apparently, man, I don't remember shit. My short-term memory's already not great, and like when I'm this tired, it's like even worse. All right,
I'm not paying attention to anything that I'm saying, man.
Same. We don't have any grounding force with Moxie only in chat. We're hooligan.
That's true.
Running rampant. All right, let's go do a shopping spree, and then let's go to the let's find the boss warp. Boss warp.
Yeah, where is the boss warp?
Boss warp. Where is the boss warp? Oh, it's in this section. All right, it's right here. Let me go over there. Mr. Hammer.
People pay attention to what they say.
Black Wake mentioned water that makes you shit for a week, and Jack responded, yeah.
I assure you that was probably not about the same thing. Like, at all.
Jack just wasn't even listening to me at all.
I really was not. I was not even listening.
Fuck, what is this? What do you...
Streaming has made me realize I have zero memory of things I said. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary, actually, for streamers.
Like, pretty wild that I could just say shit and not remember anything that I said.
Like, what if I accidentally said something horrible and, like, racist or something, and then I just
people
didn't
were just
remember
like, what the fuck?
Said?
You're like, what? What do you mean?
Huh?
Huh?
I think my face is innocent enough that people would forgive me.
Yeah.
Just
Accidentally
be like, no, Jack, no. Jack, no.
You stupid baby. Jack, don't say that. Oh, sorry. I didn't know.
This is how we find out that Jack is actually a horrible person.
All this time.
All this time.
All this time. Head Honeywell. Whoa. Why isn't the boss door opening?
Because maybe we need to defeat 6 head Haniwa.
Yeah. I can't find him. Assholes. Reveal yourself to me. There's one. Hey, thanks. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. Stankly Slash. Get fucked. I defeated more of them. And yet, not enough.
Are these head Haniwa? No, I didn't want to go fishing.
Time for fishing.
No.
Gone fishing. Found him. 2 more. And this is your grave. Oh, you want to spin, huh? I can spin too, idiot. Yeah. Alright, we did it. There we go. Warp
idiot.
circle. Okay. So, oh, it's the same. So what I need you to do is I need you to go over to the warp. Well, actually, no. Fuck. Okay. Let's do one grab-a-rooney, and then get the fuck out of here because we don't really have time for anything else. Already used. Fuck you, King Tweet. So I'm gonna go to the blacksmith guy, Mr. Hammer.
Okay, I'm gonna run over to the warp.
Yeah, anything that's dropped is probably not gonna be a gold cluster. Oh look, you have a cute like pony. That's cute.
Yeah. Wait.
Nightmare, hide. Yeah, that's what I usually do if there's a nightmare. Fuck. Okay. Go. Give me the goods. Man, I had so many treasures, and that nasty boy stole all of them from me.
Mo sent you a giant pancake?
What? Oh yeah, I remember. I thought you were talking to me or something. I was like, what?
No, him.
Yeah,
I don't think I was
funny.
in that stream.
Give it quick. That's funny. Good times. Change. Why is this better?
Ham cake. I want a
Ham
pancake. Actually, I'm really craving a crepe. Penny and I were watching Chopped while we were playing Pokemon yesterday. And just have a little like background noise, and they kept making crepes.
Go ahead and hit enter. Oh okay. Man.
And I want crepes so bad. Oh, I'm a little low level for this. Oh well, it's fine.
Go kick his ass.
I'm sure you're over leveled, so it's fine.
I think we're the same level. We'll see. The equipment's good. That's all that matters. Yeah, you fuck. Looking like a damn Castle Crashers character over here.
True.
Yeah, this is nothing.
I don't think any of our pans are good enough to make crepes. I think we could make crepes with my non-stick
okay,
pan.
we're dead.
My like egg pan.
Exploring
I think we can make crepes on that.
We just died. Exploring finished. We're both just like mangled. You're in the Yamcha dead pose. I'm in the Family Guy dead pose. Anyway.
Yeah. No, I think we could totally make crepes on that egg pan, one at a time, or the big non-stick pan.
Mission failed. We're bad at this, Jack.
So that's cause we don't. There's no thinking.
No thoughts. Head empty. Only Unga and or Bunga. Ooh, I gotta rank up for my shop. Ooh. Neat. So I'm at 4-star now. I almost made it to 5-star. What the hell? More gothic furniture. Hot damn. Emote flex. Emote hero pose. I'm a happy camper. That's so cute.
I just want some more legendary shit.
I want banana, Nutella, and whipped cream. We know ban. Well, possibly there was gonna be a store trip today. Maybe we could get some banana. Do we have any Nutella? I don't think we have any Nutella.
We have a scant, tiny smattering of Nutella. there's like a scrape or two in there. It's a sorry sight. Redux stone, I'll take it. 4, yeah. Oh yeah. Tasty. All right, you can do another one.
I think
If you
this is a
want.
possibility, though. I think this is a thing that is very possible. Ooh, chaotic passion wings. Those are that's fucking sick.
Oh yeah. Ultra rare. Oh yeah, I'll go cluster. Oh, I got the chaotic passion wings as well. Yo, I can get the dark dragon helmet. Damn it. Dark dragon
It's
helmet.
unacceptable to be out of Nutella. I didn't know we had any in the first place.
Yeah, we had some. Danuda.
I want this Celestia doll. It's cute. Feature gold chin strap.
I know.
No, it is not.
That is not a feature. All right.
That is not a feature.
Yo, and I could get 3 legendary Dawn Horns. Dorts
Yeah.
for short. Yeah, you should go to Gynormosia. If you gotta look it up, you can. But you should go to Gynormosia and get yourself a super cool mount. You jumping.
Yeah, let me see if how to do that.
You have not been eating anything straight, Mox. Eating that shit gay. Let's go. I've been eating it queer
You
as a
have to
dessert.
first talk to an NPC in Gynormosia. Ride of the Mount item by completing a quest from Monsieur Cobra in the West Ridge Desert. Okay. Cool.
West Ridge Desert. Go, go, go.
We can do that.
Do you need me to leave or do you want to do it?
No, we can just switch to Gynormosia.
Yes. I'm gonna craft this. Oh yeah. Well, I hope this works. It should work. If I craft this here hammeroony. I craft this here hammer. Hopefully I can show it to what's his fuck and he gives me something yet better. Craft it now. We need a blush emote. I need to do that for Black.
Yeah, I should do a blush emote. That's cute.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Oh shit. Ah, we're crafting. What? Yeah, ba, ba, ba. Yeah, 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 yeah. All right, we got it. Give me that shitty hammer of time so I can make the really good hammer of time.
Okay. What did it say? Where did it say it was? It was
West Ridge Desert, right?
West Ridge Desert.
West Ridge Desert.
West Dry Ridge Desert.
Dry Ridge Desert.
Okay, that's just like the first place. Let's go.
Woo!
All right.
When
you are ready. Almost sexually consuming Nutella.
Yeah.
That's okay. Hi, Nomi.
Yo, what's up, Alcorn Piggy? Hope you're feeling better.
You're welcome to join us now if you want.
Yeah, you want to join for that fat nasty life? Hell yeah.
You are welcome to join at any time. We're gonna head out here while you decide.
I got butter on my face and I'm living in disgrace. Let's go. Ugh. Air in my mouth. What's the world coming to? Whoa!
Thank you.
Whoa!
Thank you. That's 8 out of 20 subs. Let's go. Okay, I need to find the quest. Let's see if I can find a more specific quest location.
Fuck this cactus. Fuck it up. Disgraceful cactus.
Side of the mount.
Looks as though I'm hitting you repeatedly with this sword. Black always says, whoa. What? The what? Oh, when
Where?
subs happen? That's true, isn't
What?
it? When
Black
subs
always
happen.
says, "Whoa." Yeah.
Whoa! I do. It's because it's impressive.
It is impressive.
Stay awake. You're not my real dad.
Where do I go to get the thing? Where is it?
You gotta find a cobra. You gotta find his ass. And hopefully you can do it while I'm here.
Yeah,
That'd be
hopefully.
really silly. If not, you can kick me out. Just sleep. It's fine. Over here.
Let's see. It looks like it's like here. So
Oh yeah.
let's go find out if I can do quests while you're here. Probably not, because I don't see a cobra anywhere.
Nah, you can kick me. Ah, heck. It's fine. I should probably go to Gynermosia on my own and get the fucking
I quit out.
super hammer of time.
And exploration. Yes. All right, we'll do our individual quests and then we'll come back.
Yeah, regroup. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god, Jesus, dude, stay awake.
Alright.
I wish I could
Far
have
out.
the audio stay.
Well, kid, I tell you, far out shit. My dad. Funny man.
There we go.
Dude,
don't think
the
I could
day
do
that
that
I
before.
evolved, the day that I evolved from, well, kid to man, I was like, dang, 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 putting on my graduation cap and shit. That's what it was like.
End party.
Funny joke.
Joke. Yeah, exactly. All right, Skeleton.
What up, Penelope?
Hey, Penny.
It's Penny, yeah.
Oh yeah, I
Come on.
can see the quest now, I think.
No. Fucking Google Bird over here. Fucking Google Bird's Tower. Going to Google Bird's Tower. Man, remember when Google worked? Hobby Ham, deadass did that at the exact same time as you.
Nice.
Ancient vocal stem activation. Sorry to reawaken unpleasant memories again with the Game Grumps. It's all Game Grumps over here, man.
Yeah.
More
getting the
Dan and
band
Phil for
back
Jack,
together.
but they have osmosed so much Game Grumps shit from just our nonsense. Even though they don't watch them super.
All right,
super
Monsieur
frequently.
Cobra.
Monsieur Cobra. Cobra. Where?
Look at his fucking animation. Blah 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 blah.
I just wake up. That's a Game Grumps funny joke. That one. That one. That's them. They've been doing this for 15 years, bro. What's up, Plundering Panther? Give me a hammer.
Okay.
Oh, bow time too. Alright. True bow time. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yoda joke is funny joke. That's Game Grumps. That's Aaron Hansen.
Cool. I think I did it.
Way to go, buddy.
Yay!
Way to go, buddy.
I got Pride
And
of the Mount.
I got my recipe.
I can double jump. Sick.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Alright, I'm gonna rejoin Kikirth.
Alright, let me head back.
I just wake up. That's what Penny said. Technically, I woke up 2.5 hours ago, but I'm not actually awake. What? I haven't done this quest. Yeah, dude, you're getting run up walls, double jump. There's a bird in your face. That's true. And drove Danny crazy with joke Yoda. It was hilarious. It's a great reward. It's a phenomenal. Oh, I did not mean to summon Hagram. Why he called that? What is a Hagram? Don't answer that, chat. Don't do it. Okay. I will. You do the same password and shit.
Yeah, I have to set it up.
Take your time. Take your time. I'm gonna eat a bite.
I'm making you cover more of the screen.
I have expanded. Nothing can stop me now. Oh. Delayed. Moving around. There we go. Look at how large I am now.
It was just kind of funny with you being real small.
Especially considering our actual height comparison.
You're still shorter than me in this version.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
It's my stream.
Now I'm expand black.
Now I am
Destroyer of worlds.
expand.
Had a growth
I think
spurt.
if I just set it like this, it's fine.
A little bit of black lore. So, when I was growing up, I had growing pains because, as you can see, my legs are like, well, you can't see right now, but as you can imagine in your mind's eye, my legs are the majority, or like exactly half of my height. Like when Moxie's, 5'4", I'm 6'1". When we sit down, we're exactly the same height because all my height's in my legs, right? So that one would stand to reason that I had a decent growth spurt and several growing pains growing up. Well, such logic of growing pains did not apply to my hypochondriac mother, who took me from like doctor to doctor, and I think they literally just like gave her a random diagnosis so that she would leave, because they were just like, yeah, well, it could be bursitis, which you'll note is that's like it's like when the fluid barrier around your hip joint, the actual ball socket joint, is inflamed or swollen. Ooh. And you'll note that I was 10 at the time, so it probably wasn't an old ass man hip inflammation thing, but they just I swear to God, they just gave it to her so that I would be like she would leave. And they put me on crutches even though I didn't need them.
Oh no.
And I had yeah, she literally did. Like, use growth. It's not very effective. Well, it's a status, so yeah. I will look for you.
Like, it was just growing pains?
Yeah, it was literally just growing pains, and I was like, well, whatever. Guess I'm on crutches now for a second, even though it doesn't actually fucking matter.
Alright, there's no keyword this time. Password is the same.
Woo! No outings were found.
Just look for Aether each.
Okay, auto search. Yeah.
If I need to put in a keyword, let me know.
Mm-hmm.
If it would make it easier.
Maybe it would. Because I can't see you. I go do it. Thanks.
Maybe if I do advanced search, look for friends. Look for friends. Look for friends.
Well, but you're on Switch.
Yeah. That
so
crossplay's on, but yeah, maybe that's it. Yeah, the Osgood Schlatter. What is
the
that?
Keyword.
Basically knee pains during growth spurts. You were
Uh,
slatting your pants, Kench. Good old connection issue stream. My favorite.
The keyword is Blackvo.
Blackvo.
Because I tried to put in Blackvoot and the last O and the T didn't get put in for some reason.
That's actually what my emotes have as the prefix, because they just take the first letters of your fucking name. So all of the emotes are like capital O-T and then whatever. And they're like, it's very odd. I will find you and myself.
Mine is like Jackder6 or whatever.
Jackder. And his dad has Osgood Schlatter. You regularly slap my pants. Yeah, that's what I thought. It happens. You get long dancer legs too. Yes, we should have a leg fight.
A leg fight.
Taekwondo. Leg fight, yeah. Like a sword fight, but we're just like wielding our own legs at each other. Ching.
Oh yeah,
Jack
I beat
actually-
Penny in a Pokemon match yesterday.
I'm so fucking proud of you, Jack.
It was really close, and I had an extra Pokemon. She nearly got me.
That's great.
I had an extra Pokemon, and she nearly got me.
Well done. My team right now in Legends is not very balanced. It just looks pretty cool, so...
I'm not
I'm in
here
if
for
anyone challenged me, I would
balance.
be in danger. I would watch that. We did leg fights at summer camp, yeah. Leg wrestling is a thing?
I think you'd be good at that.
I'd probably be pretty good at that. Well, I'm not very strong. I just have long legs. It's not the same.
Yeah, it was really fun.
I've been watching Physical 100. We saw season 1 like a few years back, I
That
think.
sounds like the gayest form of wrestling.
Turkish oil wrestling is the gayest form of wrestling.
I don't
Ever.
know. You go waist to waist lying on the floor and hook your right legs, then try to flip the other guy. That sounds pretty fucking gay.
It sounds pretty gay, but Jack, let me tell you. Do you know what you wear in Turkish oil wrestling?
Is it nothing?
It is leather. It's like leather shorts.
Oh.
You wear leather shorts, you make eye contact while you oil each other up, and then you grab each other by the leather shorts and try to bring each other to the ground. It's all you're wearing. Two muscular men wearing leather shorts, greasing each other up. Yeah. It's literally so homosexual. It sounds like it's fake, which I respect personally.
Children are very innocent. But I'm saying if grown adults did that, it would be gay.
True.
In, /positive.
/positive. /gen. Alright, golem fragment. How do you even get a fucking golem fragment, dog? I
think you're picturing it wrong. Possibly.
Yeah, Turkish wrestling is way more homoerotic than leg wrestling. Yeah. Season 2 of Physical
I think
100
all
is so
wrestling
good
is
in
gay.
Physical. I'm looking forward to Physical Asia. I have no idea what to expect for that. That would be different than Physical 100. But yeah, Physical 100,
I've never
dude,
watched this.
crazy. Really just looking at a bunch of like beautiful muscular people going through crazy muscle obstacle courses. Oh my god, it's crazy.
I hate tone indicators. They make everything sound sarcastic to me, ironically.
That's true.
Funny.
Yeah, I'm just like, I don't know.
I like them because, like, I legitimately can't tell.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like they're all so nice to each other. Yeah, it's like the Body Improvement Club from Mob Psycho. Like, oh, they're just like really supportive. Really nice.
It's
American TV
a spectrum of homoeroticism. Yeah, all wrestling is on a spectrum of being hella gay.
True. All right, I'm ready. Dan it.
Are
Readying
you?
up. Dan it. Dan. Yeah, readying up. Dan it. Dan. There it goes.
Let's go to Snoozerland.
Snoozerland. I would love to be in Snoozerland right now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I
Understandable.
don't even know if you can hear my fake snoring. Probably not.
No,
It gets filtered out.
it does.
You can? No,
No.
Moxie nodded her head.
Oh.
Ah,
Well,
I'm
Moxie's
also
in the
hella
room with
gay
you.
and on the spectrum. That's true. That's true. But there's a huge delay between when I say it and when it pops up on stream, so I don't know. Squire Sword, strongest.
Yep.
Let's go. Hey, we gotta slap this leaf boy. Whoop. That little leaf boy.
Hell yeah.
Slap a leaf. Get the speedy mimic. Sneaky little shit.
Speedy Mimic.
Where is the
he?
speedy mimic? Oop. Mariner's cap. Ooh, yet stronger sword. Mercenary. Hey, little Benuis. Fuck it. Yes. Life unlocked.
Oh, I found a Mimic. I don't know if it's the speedy mimic, but I found a mimic.
Yeah.
He's pretty fast.
If he runned it, then he's a speedy boy. Oh, Oaks.
Get
You
back
were
here.
close.
You
I see him,
can't
I see him,
hide
I see
among
him,
the
I see him.
boxes. I see you.
Ah, blah. There we go. Hey,
Yay, he was the speedy
we did
mimic.
it, we did it, we did it.
I'd be gayer if women liked me.
You have no idea how many women like you, let's be honest. I've been so oblivious so many times.
Listen, I don't
For,
care
like-
about gender because I'm not into the part that gender cares about. But
Yeah.
I would like somebody. It would be nice.
Who
Who
do you know? It's not about who I know, it's about what you don't know, okay? Let's be real. Bro, I'm so fucking oblivious about that shit, it's really funny.
I'm
Always
sure
have been.
somebody could be flirting with me in my face and I would not know.
Well, see, here's the thing. Like, the only people I've actively known, like, are like into me for the most part are dude flavored people because they're much less subtle.
Hmm.
And I hear after the fact, I'm like, oh man, this girl was like checking you out. I'm like, what? What do you mean, bro? Crazy.
I still think about that girl who like just randomly walked up to Moxie and gave her her number.
Dude, Blue. She was so
Blue.
hot. Like pure, like butch.
Like that's
Gangly butch
that's like
lesbian
such
shit.
good energy.
Yeah, it's so good.
You have
Yeah,
to be
she
less
had,
subtle
like-
when gay. Mm.
She had like a blue buzz cut and like a big ass leather jacket, and she was like all leg, and she like left a little note. It was like, I really like your sense of humor. Basically, like, here's my number in
Yeah.
the note. And Max is like, yeah, it was great. Good times.
I was so embarrassed I didn't know what to do when I do
It
not
was-
know what to do when girls.
Yes. There's a
Uh.
couple of moments where I was like, you know, like if someone was like attracted to me and there's no way to deny that the signs that they were, right? Like the
Mhm.
reaction they had, it's like even my oblivious ass be like, oh, judging from this circumstance, one can assume blah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, yeah, sometimes I just have no fucking idea. And I did a lot where it was like, even when I was like small, when I was working
Yeah.
at Paris Baguette. Oh, I'll get back to that in just a second. There were these two like, there were these
Don't
two.
have a I can't woodcut things.
These two girls. I was just being friendly, cause like I do that, and I
Yeah.
was working customer service, so I'm being nice. But I'm like, haha, yeah, you know, whatever. And they're like, ha. And they're like playing with their hair, whatever the fuck. And I'm like, that'll be $375. And they're like, oh god, oh shit. And they give me the money and they leave scared. Like, you know, they're like, oh man, I've been rejected or whatever. I had no idea about any of this. And my coworker was like, damn, bro, breaking hearts. I'm like, what do you mean?
What what do you
What?
mean?
What? When I was working at Paris Baguette, one of our supervisors had the idea that when we said hi, like when we said like hi to a customer that was coming in, he'd be like, "Welcome to Paris Baguette." Like one person said that, and then two other people or whoever else was on shift said Paris Baguette, like fucking Timmy and Tommy at the Nook store or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And one day we did that when June came in, our manager, and she was like, "Don't ever fucking do that again. What are you doing? Stop that." Welcome to Paris Baguette. Paris Baguette. Fucking stop that. Oh God, I'm sorry, June.
That's
so
so funny
funny.
though. I would
She was-
love if I
she
walked
was
into
so
a store and they
severe.
did that. Well, it's kind of like the "irashaimase" that
Yeah,
is
right.
like in Japanese culture.
Yeah. It is.
'Cause,
Same
like, they
energy.
have to
Oh, I can't
repeat
wait
it.
to read that. As I said, yeah.
Naomi, one time I went to a staff event in the city, and my friend assigned me the goal of telling a girl she was beautiful. I saw a girl in the crowd who was stunning, and I worked up the courage all night to talk to her, but kept chickening out. At one point, I went outside for fresh air, and suddenly she came out and said, "Hey, I meant to tell you earlier that I love your rainbow hair. It's so pretty." I said, "Thanks," and watched her walk away. Oh no!
Oh boy. Oh. Yeah, man.
Mission failed successfully.
Cook.
I wish I could attack things on my mount.
Pacifist bear. Okay, so he doesn't like combat lives. I see. Women are too pretty and cool. It's true.
I'm kind of terrified that, like, I'm gonna be nice to someone someday and they're gonna think I'm flirting with them.
That's
This
their
has
problem.
happened before. This has happened before with one of my friends. Where
Thank God I
apparently...
nabbed this scrawny NB idiot in high school, so I never had to really date. Said my ass, same. I mean, same. That'd be a disaster. A disaster in the dating
Where are
scene.
the
It would also
boxes?
just, it would just be constant, like, just constant
Where's
heartbreak.
the big black cardboard?
My
I
needs are
can't
very
believe they
specific.
called it big black cardboard.
Dude, that's what I'm fucking saying. Like,
Cannot
they could have called it
believe-
anything. They could have called it anything else.
I cannot believe
Big black
that.
cardboard. What the fuck, man? Bruh. That's what I'm fucking
Ooh, a
saying.
grateful-looking
That's what I'm
statue.
saying, dude. Terrible. Ah!
What would you transform into, Dark Dawn?
He's like, hell yeah.
He's like, hell yeah. Need to find where the autistic gay ladies are hanging out. I
Go
need
to
to
a
find.
fucking
I feel like I
con.
need to find someone who is also ace.
I'm telling you, man, you keep doing what you're doing, which is going after, like, your special interests.
Yeah.
That is your hope. Like,
Yeah,
start
I
with
feel
that as a
like-
baseline because your hobbies and shit are so fucking important to you.
Mm-hmm.
And also, you are more likely to I found it. You
Oh,
are
good.
more likely to find, like, fellow weird queer people who are into the same things. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, yeah, like. Ah, fuck.
Sorry, I just saw Sano's chat message. No.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, man. They knew what they were doing.
Catch two small fish.
Can't fucking roll in
fish
here.
Shadows.
Big black cut. It's even cut off
It's real.
when
Yeah.
it's in a mission. It's like big black cut. Like, come on. Killing me.
Ooh, a little guy.
funny.
Hello, little guy. Work.
I gotta find small fish shadow. Listen
Yeah,
here, small
I
fish shadow.
can't fish.
Found one. Oh, I can fish.
I don't have a fish. I don't have a fish life.
Yes, you can take that as well, Ham. Yeah, fish, yeah.
I mean, Ham and I are pretty, like, similar creatures,
Yeah,
so...
you're similar creatures.
There's
similar
fish up here.
beings. Ah, ooh. Fell on the ground. Have we tagged a boy here? Have we tagged a man?
Yeah.
Tagged a fella. Awesome. Oh yeah, I see it. Munzinger Z. Get back here, you little shit. Oh,
bitch.
oh, what the fuck? Is that
The what?
teleported?
You've entered the
teleported?
what?
Ah, I've entered the void. What is this? Huh? What is this?
The
oh,
death
shit.
battle
oh, fuck.
room?
What in
Ham,
the
are you
fuck?
ace? Maybe y'all should talk? No.
Ah.
Ham has tech support
Yo.
and lives in Canada. I can't have a girlfriend from
What?
Canada. I'm sorry.
Ah, oh, dude, I got
Oh,
punched in
God,
the
where
face and
are
I died
you?
immediately. I'm in the death battle area.
Where is
And-
the death battle area?
Fuck, dude. I don't know.
I can't some save
But I
you
didn't
if
get
I don't know where you
anything.
are.
No, it's fine. I just lost and I'm angry.
Angie. Oh god,
Angy.
I'm surrounded by
he's
jellies.
Oh,
I pressed a button. I don't know what button I pressed.
Oh no. Come on, everybody. Come on, baby. Let's go. Meteor crash. Yeah. Oh yeah. Eh. Big whack. Big whackaroo. Are you dead in a hole somewhere? Nah, yeah, but I got better.
There's, did you get the fish up here? I thought there were some.
Yeah, I do have a primary partner. I just want to be gayer. He's mostly kind of a dude. Man. Ringing endorsement right there. I'm going up and left. Up and left. Just like
I'm
Howdy
sorry, tech
Ham's
support
gonna
isn't gay enough.
up and leave, you know, when a beautiful woman comes by.
Oh! Headbang dream!
Polyamory is a thing. Not for me. Sure is a thing.
Yeah, I'm on the fence about polyamory.
It took me this long to get good at one relationship. It's been
No,
like
I didn't equip the fucking
18 years or some shit. I can't imagine I'd be able to anyone like
I
be
feel
able
like
to
I'm
like
too tired to maintain multiple relationships.
it takes a lot of effort and communication and logistics, and I fucking hate logistics.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Our dream would be a third person who can open
finally
jars.
Oh man.
Need a muscle mommy to open your jars for you.
Blue, open this jar.
I can't believe I just
please.
said muscle mommy.
I can. Alright, oh look. I see Mimic. Slap me in the face, please. Yeah,
Where
now I
are
can
the
slap other
fish
things in the
shadow?
face. I don't know. I'll slap this fish with my head banging. Does it continue to last even when I change areas? Yes, I think it does. Dude, I can't fish with the head banging. Can't fish under these conditions. Sam is looking for a jar opening unicorn. God, that is my dream. Yeah, man. Unicorn with... Oh, of course it runs out as I get to the golden tree. I'm gonna fucking shit.
Oh,
Ooh.
I hate when that happens.
That is so absurd. You did it. You did it. We did it. You did it. We did it. All right, 6 minutes, 45 seconds.
Did we do it?
No, I thought it said... Oh, it was when I went into the area and it was like, here it is, chump.
Yeah.
Respawn. Fucking respawn.
There's really like one area to fish in here, so like what?
You damn fish. Hold on. Rolling, rolling, rolling. Wasting my damn time with these fish. Hey, look, a treasure chest. Oh, it's a good one. Take that, thank you.
It says that there is a small fish shadow in here.
Well, what the hey? You have a rod?
No.
I
Oh, I
do,
think
but
it's
it's
down
not letting me.
here.
Uh-huh. Oh. I see none. Oh, there it is.
Fish.
Hell yeah, thank you. It didn't show up for me. Audacity.
Drowsy mimic. Come here, drowsy mimic.
The audacity's nuts. Alright, here we go. That's for you, Kenj. Alright.
Oh, I did get the, okay, I did get the mimic somehow. I don't know how, I'm confused.
Oh, that is on the fuck fortunate, Alicorn Piggy.
What is this glowing, ominous wall?
Don't worry about it. You're welcome, buddy.
I think it's just, it just means I can't go that way.
Okay, let's go. Let's go to the hop. I'm gonna warp to you real quick. Oh no, I don't want to warp to a buffalo. Why can't I warp to you? Ah, son of a bitch. Can I please? It's just not letting me. There we go, there we go, there we go, there we go. Perfect. I mean, I know you're dead and I know why, but why, lol?
Yeah, that's
Oh, see you
really
later,
kind of a
Ham.
shitty thing to say. Like, what the fuck?
Ew.
Yeah, ew.
No. Okay, crit aid.
We gotta find the
Don't
training
use
dummy.
That shit. Training dummy. Not here. There it is.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like we need to
Oh,
be
this is,
really like a lot higher level too. So
This is a sturdy boy.
I'm just gonna,
oh
I'm
no!
just gonna attack as
I think
many
I'm gonna
guys.
need help with this one.
Oh shoot, I'm on my way.
Yeah, it's actually that strong. Oh my god, it's just refilling. Maybe we need to get higher level before we even start. Because this is like, watch, it's gonna refill. Yep, that's insane. Well, I guess with the two of us here, we have a chance.
Yeah, we gotta just spam
Yeah.
heavy attack.
Woo! Running out of juice. Yeah. Oh, my super's here. My super's here. Video strike. All right. Yeah, we definitely need to level up a little bit before we fight that boss, because that was a slaughter
like,
last
wow,
time.
you said that out loud, and my dad got embarrassed.
All right, let's
Okay, the portal is here.
Okay, I see it. Let's.
I got
let's go to this-
headbang.
Woo! Yeah.
Give me the fucking apocalypse wings.
All right, I'm gonna be. We only have 2 minutes left. I'm just gonna toss in.
I'm gonna
Okay.
fucking run out of thing.
If you want to come over here, nice. Where
There's
I am.
there's a guy in here that we haven't activated. It's like right near the.
Okay, we don't really have time.
No, I know, but it's right near the thing, so you could teleport back.
Oh,
to
great,
It.
awesome. That's fantastic. I'm just trying to get more gear.
Yeah, I just
but
have
what
to
I'm saying is,
activate
if you after you tag that, pop over here and grab some shit because you had a bunch of stuff spawn.
Okay.
And then hopefully we have enough to at least have a fighting chance against this Tured. I think I'm gonna get a ranged weapon against this guy, because I don't have much of a chance without it. Let's see, changed life. There's not much time left. Oh no. Oh no. Alright, let's warp back to that one that you just tagged. And is it active? What do we need to do to get the warp? Need to finish another
I thought I
task?
activated
no,
it.
I found it. Oh, you activated it. Sorry, I was looking at another. What is this other thing then? Maybe that's where we showed up. Sorry, I get it. All right, Chef Pigale.
Chef Biggie. Is this like a roguelike mode? Yeah, kinda.
All right, now let's fight the boss.
All right, let's see if we.
I don't know if we can do it, but let's try.
It says 800 and up. I don't know.
Let's go. We have no choice because we only have a
All
minute.
right.
If we lose, we lose. We lose. I have a ranged spell thing, so. Last time I did this with Mox, it restarted the time once you started this fight. Okay, good, it does. All right, I was really worried for a second. All right, so I'm gonna just do my best to stay the fuck over here. Oh, I have nothing. I see you over there.
I have a life cure.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you got a life cure? Hell yeah. Oh shit, he got me. Man, he is fast. Oh great, I can use an item. I got life cures too. Man, we're sitting pretty. All right, let's just keep doing what we can. I do good. Oh, you missed, you fuck. Ah, what? Dude. My bro over here needs some fucking glasses because he is like losing sight. Watch out, Jack! Oh god!
I got another life cure.
It's a slaughter. Good. Yeah, let's just use our life cures. Oh fuck. Yeah. Get him. We can do it. Ah. So immediate. Oh shit. Fine. Damn it. I had more life cures. What the hey?
This is hard. Oh, Jack
It's
is dead.
hard.
Oh, Black is dead.
Yep. It's tough. I know
How did
he's
we do
15
so
levels
well the
above us.
first time?
I don't know. Dumb luck. It is easier with more people. If only to just like meat shield it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like look over here, you know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Ooh, shop rating up.
And again, any gold clusters
Yeah,
is
you don't
time.
have to. You don't have to talk.
Been
We'd
maligned.
be happy to. We'd be
Ooh,
happy
yeah.
to have you.
Lurkin's good. Moxie, join us. Oh, your hands hurt. Never mind.
Yeah, Moxie said her hands
Sorry,
hurt.
baby. I'm sorry, sweetie. Legendary Daunt Hornt. Ooh. The issue is efficiency and organization because I'm stupid.
Yeah, you just
And
get the
sleep deprived.
DLC automatically.
Yeah. Free LC, baby. That's some TLC, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
No, I think you just get it, Pen. You can. You're welcome. I mean, you can check.
You might have to no, but you start from scratch.
Yeah, I
start
don't know
from
if it's a beat
scratch.
the game thing. Let's see.
Yeah. I think you have to beat the game first, but I don't know.
Yo no sé. Por seguro.
I think we just need to be a little bit faster with our completing the missions.
Yeah.
Then we'll be okay. Captain the game, but you don't have to beat it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Penny, check to see if check to see if you have it.
Yeah, hop on in this fat
If
nasty
you go
life.
if you go to the northeast of your island here.
Northest.
You'll have to do. You're not yet at chapter 3.
Yeah, chapter
Okay.
3.
Well then, play more, bitch.
Yeah.
You can play Fantasy
Any
Life while
other
you're waiting for me
plays-
to play Pokemon.
He either fixates on a game for like a month or picks it up and puts it down immediately. There's nothing in between. And I can't
Same.
imagine what that's like. Certainly couldn't relate to that.
The keyword is Blackvo.
Oh.
Because I was gonna put in Blackvoot so it was easy for Black to find, and then it decided not to put in the last 2 letters.
Hell yeah, Dan. Hell yeah, Dan. I think you can only have 4 people at once. Is that so? Maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
Hell yeah, Dan. Download the update on your Switch. Deet. I will ready up and take a bite. We're gonna beat this fucking asshole before this stream is over. Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
It's been 2 hours.
I believe in us. I really don't, but I think we can do it theoretically.
I
Reloading
believe
my
in
Twitch
us.
page.
I don't really believe in
don't.
us. Yeah, you do have
The
to play the
evidence
DLC
provided
tutorial.
does not support. The levels
didn't
you're
take
all
very
at,
long
we're
for
at,
me to
like,
do.
I mean, I'm level 93 mercenary, but like all you start from scratch every time because it's like a roguelike.
Mhm.
I guess it's not a true roguelike because you don't like carry over shit from one thing to the next. It's all kind of like a one and done, self-contained mission to mission thing.
Yeah, make sure to run around and collect flowers.
Oh yeah. Got a daisy pick, you know. I want that sword, man. It looks so neat and cool.
And cool and neat.
Cool and neat. Neat and cool and neat. Alrighty. We got a daddy pumpkin over here. Oh. New bottom member.
Yay!
Yeah.
Yay, Penny's
What
also
up,
downloading the
Naomi?
update. Yay!
Yeah. This is fun. Back on the water. the water, the water, the water. Oh, so the carryover thing, that is new. I thought, because almost every roguelike that I've ever played these days has the sort of like momentum building, like, you know, if things carry over, it's a roguelite. Oh, that's right. I had this explained to me at some point, but I simply forgot. Thank you. I like roguelites.
I like this lavender color, pinky lavender
Well, it's
color.
fun to feel like you're actually, I mean, that's what, like, Hades is like the perfect roguelite. It is so fucking good. I love Hades. I haven't played the second one. I really should. I was thinking about doing it on stream, but then I didn't have money to buy it, so here we are. Welcome, Naomi. Welcome.
Yay.
Yo, that's a pretty good claymore. Because that's how Rogue was. One and done. Cool. And it was kind of like ahead of its time by leaps and bounds, so people like, didn't people just like not like it or understand it or what? With more people here, it means we can actually like focus more on slapping dudes.
Yeah.
Mission's done, so we actually have a chance at leveling up. What is that? Something fell in the water. Oh, it's a helmet. I got it. Rogue Legacy. I have actually not played it. I don't need no shark hat, though I want it. Look, it's a battle-born queer ass. That's me.
Battle-born queer ass.
Yeah, queer ass.
Nice. Yeah, we're gonna do this much faster.
It's so much easier with multiple people. 2 is like, it's fun, but it can be, oh, I got Satan's toilet. I mean, Sultan's toilet. Which is actually probably what it was originally written as, now that I'm thinking about it. Well, no, then it would be Dark Satan instead of Dark Sultan. Yeah, I guess Sultan's toilet. That's fine. Fine. Ooh.
I'm still upset that they changed Damien's name.
Yeah, right? Damien. Hooray,
Like, yeah,
Satan's toilet.
okay. Damon is...
Okay, Rogue was hella popular. Well, that's cool. That's neato mosquito. Too big a fish. I don't have a fish rod.
I don't either.
I don't have a lod slash bait, as they say in Breath of Fire. 2. Lod bait. I have a pickaxe. I got nothing. I got no life.
I
no
got
friends,
no life.
no prospects, no assets. Struggling, out of my lane, dehydrated. Hey, look, a treasure chest. Life,
I
please.
googled it and I couldn't find any
That is
sexy
not-
art of Odin from this game and I was disappointed. Yeah, you need to be the change you want to see in the world.
You do, it's true. Odin is a handsome boy, and I love him so much. You got a super
Ooh,
deep
I got
voice.
a fishing rod.
Yeah, and I'll give you my fishing pole. I'm gonna fight this Nightmare Benui. Strong. You get strong. Can't believe no. Oh, there's a lot of lag happening. This bunny is so lag. I'm gonna run. I'm not confident that I can fight this thing with this much lag.
That's a big. It's a small
We use
fish
for
shadow,
fishing.
not a big fish shadow. I need a
3
big.
White Panthers. Oh, I'm gonna get
Ah!
fucking destroyed. Oh, am I like
Oh,
not
no.
even doing any damage? God.
Ah!
Ah!
I was
Oh,
trying
Jack.
to escape.
I can't warp to you because I'm also being accosted. Oh, remember your mount. Remember
It's
your
okay,
mount.
Nomi's here.
Oh, remember your mount. Remember your mount. Way to go, Naomi. I'm coming. By our powers combined.
There's so many jellies here.
Ah, the jellies.
Oh
You
no!
shall not pass. There we go.
There's so
Ow, ow,
many
ow.
guys. I just got swarmed.
So many jellies. I'm helping. I'm helping. I'm helping. One sec. Yeah. All right. There we go. Perfect. All right. There you go, everybody. Be healed. Oh, I was thinking you got like the sort of Baptist church gesture. It makes me laugh every time.
Oh yeah.
Praise him. Doing, you know
Where
what I
they
mean?
like throw your head back.
Yeah. Welcome back. I bonked you back to life. All right. Now, Big fish.
All right, we
So
need
Lick
to
has big
find the
fish.
other big fish shadow.
We'll find big fish. Big fish. Oh, look. Treasure. Hey, look, a cherry ride. Yeah, I can fish too.
Yay!
No, Dan, you get a bonk. You get a bonk. I can't because I'm occupied. But the bonk is in my heart. Boob is in the heart. Boob is in the heart. Thank you, Mux. Bing ding 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 ding. Bing ding bing ding 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 ding. Bing ding 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 ding. Bing ding bing ding 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 ding. Sounds really good. What? Ding 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 ding. Bing ding bing ding 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 ding. For cramps. Ah! Where's one fish? Shouldn't be this hard to find. Oh yeah. I see very few fish spots. Hold on.
Dang it.
Check my map. Oh no, Jack is dead. I'll find Jack. No. Oh fuck. Oh fuck. Oh shit. Hey, out of here.
I think I'm bad at this
Come on.
game.
You know?
Hi, and Mort.
Yeah. Hey, look, I can cut wood now. How much wood could a woodcock? All right, go.
What?
Yeah. I misspoke and I just went with it. How much wood could a wood? Here we go. And a white panther, as opposed to black panther. How about earthquake? Idiot. Okay, welcome back to the world, Jack.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, I'm one level. Whoa, Jesus Christ! Everything went black.
Yeah, whoa.
Okay, that was crazy.
That was crazy.
Crazy. Okay, okay. Killer weedling. Kill the killer weedling. No. I don't want to get hit by weed. Weed. I dodged perfectly. It said perfect, so you know it's true. Yeah. Is that a weed? I'm calling the police. That's what this mission is.
Yeah.
You can't kill me. I've got lag armor. It's just like every other game that I play. Hey, guess what? Oh man, I thought you were.
I have lag armor.
I thought you were hitting them with the motorcycle because the delay between when I swung and when they got hit was timing perfectly with you riding in on your motorcycle, Naomi. So I was like, that's awesome. I wish I could do that. That'd be so cool. Why doesn't it hurt when you run your mount into like smaller enemies? That'd be great. You just roll into no, Jack. Here you go, bud.
Keep dying.
All right, there we go. 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 We killed weed, but there's still more weed to kill.
There's more weed
Rated
to kill.
R. Found it. I found some
Oh,
weed.
Penny's in chapter 3.
You're gonna get smoked, weed. You're gonna get smoked, weed. Stop healing, dude. This game said it right here. Weed heals.
Weed
Ow.
heals.
That means I'm sick because I don't smoke that shit.
You don't have to smoke it
Not
for
a-
it to heal.
It's true. Yeah,
Oh,
THC, you know.
Why do I keep getting swarmed?
Yeah, there you go. There you go. One more weed down. Did that not count? I got you, buddy.
This is why I don't play roguelikes.
Ooh. Oh no. Ah. Come on. Ah, ooh. I hate these bats, dude. About to fuck these guys up.
It's fine. I don't have like a timer or anything, so.
Quack. Nah. Give me levels, dummy. Alright, I'm gonna go over here. Go over here. Over here. Hey, look at me. Look at me, bat. I'm over here, bat. I'm gonna kill you, bat. Out of SP. It is
He's just
slow.
watching you fight in the background.
All right, here, this is
Ran
it
me
for
over
sure. This
with
is
a
it for sure. This is it
motorcycle.
for sure. Yeah, yeah. That's how you know you're healed.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Oh, got a bat. Somebody's just hanging out, doing her own thing. Yo-ho.
Mostly the downside of excessive weed, and it makes you really annoying. God damn it!
Yes, level 20. Yeah. Oh, level 20. Hey, weed. What in the fresh fuck?
No, I don't
go.
want the monsters. Oh, there's a guy over here.
Got him. We got him. Oh, thank goodness gracious.
I don't know about this we.
We got him. You know. Yeah. All right. So area clear. To what end? All right. I am going to go. Need to find and kill 2 more weeds. Oh, is this it? Oh, it's harvesting service spot. Ain't got no hoe. No hoes to speak of. Have we activated you, precious little man? Oh, look.
Yeah,
You put materials in this man?
yeah.
Know me if you want to warp to us. Whoa, my god. Oh, okay, all right. You gonna do the whole thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, whenever you
really
hear this with
need,
the chat
like-
lag and stuff, warp to us, and you get...
Oh, thank God
This
I got a
is the stuff.
paladin sword.
Woo! Magma hoe.
I'm so much better with paladin.
It's a good class. Wizard's hoe. Could be
Bitch.
a wizard's hoe. Oh no. Levels are building up fast. Building up real fast. Perfect dodge. Alright, get strong. Alright. Yeah, Naomi, if you want to warp to the blacksmith one right near us, there's some stuff for you.
Yeah. Flappy does not
If I
want to
just-
run stream today. Oh no.
Damn. Yeah, nice. Okay. Alright, gotta find weed. Clock is a fucking ticking, bro. I do I? Or not? I do. Well, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that right now. Where's the fuck? Hey, I'm leveling up all over the place. Thanks. Where's weed?
Where is weed?
Where's weed? There's weed. Say your prayers, weed.
Yay!
Oh,
Warp circle.
great. God. Game did not know how to deal with that.
Where is the warp circle?
Ow, ow. Stop using frenzy plant on me, you fool.
Oh, the warp circle's all the way down there. Okay.
Ow, man. It's strong weed. This weed's strong. I wonder how it was grown. Oh. Ow. I don't have any healing items to speak of, but this weed is healing itself. Yeah. Get him. Get that shit. That earthquake,
Okay.
dummy.
We are at 691 and we need 800 for power. For the
Okay,
boss.
we definitely need more power. Aha! Got him. The weed is dead.
But there's a warp really close to the boss, so.
Yeah, having more people is just so nice.
Mm-hmm.
Then you, like, while one person's doing the mission or 2 people are doing the mission, you have people who could do missions in other spots, so we're building levels way faster.
Yeah.
Alright, looks like, we got one more dude to tag here and here. Okay. I'm gonna go around tagging these fuckers.
All right, we
It's supposed to be a
gotta.
big update. It finished
gotta
downloading
do
and now it
big
needs another
black
10 minutes to
cardboard.
upload. Big black cardboard, big black cardboard. There we go. North, going straight north. Straight up north. All these chopped leaf nodes, no king tweets, bro. Sound like a fucking crazy person just talking about this. Alright, yes, that'll work.
Alright, I can now X.
Alright. I'll take care of some of these bunnies.
This is such a quiet stream because I'm just like fucking focused.
Locked in.
Locked the fuck in. The part of my brain that does talking is just not available right now.
I understand. For me, it's loop back around so that I will just constantly be yammering, apparently. So that's something.
Well, you know, at least one of us will be entertaining.
Yeah. All right. I have activated Lil Man's right next to one. That's great. Is it a king tweet? Oh, Nama's about to slap one too, I think.
Mhm.
No, they're
I
right
need that
next to it.
last big black cardboard.
Ah, it's really bad at locking on to teammates in this one.
Hmm.
In Gynomosa, you can warp to your buddies like really easily. Hello.
Okay, that's a wall. That's not an area I can actually go to.
I want
Where's
treasure.
this last cardboard?
Okay, I'm glad we got the boss thing active. I'll come over to you. Look for the cardboard. Got about 3 minutes. Okay.
You.
Oh, I see. Wait. Oh, be gone, small lizards. Where is it, man?
Yeah, I know, right?
There's like only so many places it could be. It's probably around like a weird. Hold on a second. There's like a drop somewhere. I like putting them in there. I touched the book. I found it. Oh shit!
Yeah.
I slipped into the void for a second. It was like die. I'm like ah.
Oh no!
Hi, SP potion. Yeah. Yeah. Black cardboard. Achieved.
Nice.
Level ups. Fast riches. Fast riches. 2.5 minutes left.
I think we got this.
I think we got it. You want to fight him?
Let's get as many levels as we can.
Let's go do a shopping spree. Equipment's important too, and also we get chances at gold clusters. I forget what the different. I'm gonna go to this chomp leaf now.
Okay.
The one that's second from the bottom. Don't want to join me? Let me just auto add.
I'm gonna go to the one that's near the portal, so I'm near it.
Cool, sounds good.
Oh, there's a statue here.
Oh shit, a statue? Oh fuck. All right, no problem. I'm just gonna load this shit in.
Funny or serious? Funny. You gave me a high HP potion. That's nice.
All right, I activated the chomp leaf now. So if y'all want to grab some. Oh shit, that's a strong mage. That I just got. Of time. Glass of tropical juice. Mon Stroganoff, let's go. Beep, 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 beep. Yeah, I got it. Oriole blade, even better. Oh my god, the alpha apple slicer. It's like 729. Dude, 930 power is where it's at, bro. That is amazing.
We have a fighting chance.
All right, let's go right now.
Yep. On
40,
my way.
46 seconds. Da 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 da. All right.
Alright, let's go. You ready?
Yeah, ready. Let's fight. Ouch.
I'm at 797, so
I'm at like 900.
it's fine.
Let's fucking go, dude. The three, like, I'm telling you, man, the odds are so much better. But, and then, because then you have people who can revive each other, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of, like, it's just between the two of us and he just goes for one once the other is dead. Dead, see? Look.
Oh.
Like you're...
Damn it.
Ah, shit. Thank you. Thank you. You can do it.
No!
Oh, damn it.
I watched that happen. No.
Jesus.
This guy's hard.
I don't remember us having this hard of a time before, Mox. Did they boost him a little bit?
Why is he so hard?
I'm actually okay if they boosted him because it was really,
No, we're
really
only
tough.
3.
Like, it was like really, really easy before. I think they buffed this guy. They were like, this dude's a chump. Because we
yeah,
killed
well,
him
they
like
buffed him too much.
Yeah, true. We kicked his ass. I'm hopping up voice to make things easier. Sorry.
Okay.
We were chewing through him before, truly. some pretty good stuff, even so.
Yeah, don't feel like you need to, though. If you want to just like chill, that's totally fine too.
I should probably spend it on
Oh, I
dark
guess I need to
stuff.
add to the call, cause it's just us.
Oh yeah. Just us squirrel friends.
Let's just switch over here. I'll just switch to the BG3 Bard Squad chat.
Oh.
Hello.
Hello. That was laughable.
Sorry, Mox. I scared Mox.
Lag.
Yeah.
Between the stream, like what was actually going on. So I was like,
Mhm.
okay, let me just, yeah.
Good to see you, bud. I'm sorry
Thank
about your
you.
nausea.
It's okay. Yeah.
Oof.
Okay,
Yeah.
hold on. I'm spending all my money.
Yeah.
You're spending my money! Alright, let's just get some redux.
Okay, so let me
Shit,
give you guys some insight on the snooze islands. So
Yeah.
obviously we want to try to clear the map as quickly as possible, and we want to try to unlock all the little
Mhm.
bots as quickly as possible, because then you can warp to them. But then
Yeah.
after that point, in the remaining time we have, we want to try to get as many of those like dream chests as possible,
Mhm.
because the dream
Mhm.
chests sometimes drop a thing that you can then give to the bots that make them continuously give you items. They just keep throwing up.
Oh!
Mhm.
I was wondering what caused
Oh.
that.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Mm.
So that
Mhm.
that is the goal. That is the order of operations.
Yeah, Dan,
Nice.
if you wanna join, that's yeah.
Uncle. Mhm.
I think you have all the information, just from it being on stream, which I tried to hide the password in the beginning, and then I realized if I press the X button to change to change the stuff, you can see the password. So that's nice.
We're gonna
That's
kill this
fine.
motherfucker.
Is there
I tell
like
you
a
what.
stream mode
Fuck.
that I could put this in that would stop that? I wonder,
I don't know.
because that seems like
On
a
the Steam version, maybe. She went on the
It
Switch
also took
version.
me a minute when I joined to remember the controls because I haven't
Oh,
played
yeah.
in like a couple weeks. I was like,
Yeah, it took me a minute too when we first started.
I've been doing all Pokemon all the time, so I was like, what is anything?
Yeah, my two games have been Animal Crossing and Power Wash Simulator 2.
Ooh, I need to play Power Wash Simulator.
I like the second one better because I did really enjoy the first one, but there was a thing with the controls where you had to hold down a button to keep the water on, and it would start really hurting my hands after a while. And the second one, you can toggle the water on and off.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so it made a huge difference in how comfortable it was to play. So would recommend.
Great. Are we
Let's
waiting
see
for
what
Dan?
I can craft.
Handsome Dan?
You can toggle it on the first game too? Oh.
You can! Today I fucking
Maybe they
learned.
added it.
Maybe. Maybe it was like a thing that they added later.
Yeah. I think I'm gonna quit my job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't fucking blame you, man.
I'm burnt the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, and I don't want, the thing is like, I don't want anyone to get to misconstrue that as like I'm leaving because working with autistic children is hard.
No.
Autistic children, the kids I work with, are the reason I stayed for so long. The administrative bullshit that comes with this job, like I can't deal with it. I'm like
Totally.
I'm fucking tired. So I think I'm gonna quit my job, and I think I'm gonna just go full tilt into voice work and see how that goes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I believe in you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
You got this.
I need the fucking break before I completely succumb to autistic burnout.
Yeah.
Autistic burnout meaning me, an autistic person, not burnt out on working with autistic children, but I am burnt out. But part of the reason I'm burnt out is because I'm also autistic.
Yep.
It's rough out here.
It is indeed rough out here.
I'm excited to have the true hammer of time. That thing is strong.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
I almost have the full set for the Dark Dragon art. That I'm almost positive they lowered the necessary crafting level because, like, I gotta say, it has to have been.
Oh my god.
I swear it was higher.
Sorry, Moxie said autism burned by autism. It's autism on autism violence.
It's like Ghost being super effective.
Sometimes literally, because I do sometimes get hit at work. I'm gonna jinx myself the moment I say this, but I have worked there for 1.5 years, and I have not been bitten at all, even though that was an extensive part of training of what to do if you get bitten by a client. And somehow I have not been bitten, which is shocking.
Like in a cleaning the wound kind of sense?
I mean, we do get that kind of training, but also it's like they teach us, like, if a kid bites you, here's how to safely dislodge them without hurting the child or making the bite worse. And things like that.
Nice, Penny.
Penny can access the DLC! Penny, get in here!
Yay!
But Dan is not going to be joining.
Well, whichever one gets here first. Fight,
first come, first serve, motherfucker.
But yeah, there's a lot of rules on like how to handle high support needs autistic children when they're being aggressive, because like in the 80s they used to just tie up children, which is a big no-no for obvious reasons. So now there's all these rules in place of like, hey, if an autistic child is like trying to pummel the shit out of you, these are the acceptable ways you can defend yourself. Because yeah.
Oh no.
Duct tape is a no.
Yeah, duct tape is a no. Tying a child to a chair, big no.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
The more you know. Do a tutorial first. All right. we don't
Penny,
have too
see
much
if you
longer
can
in this game.
hop into the online
Teams to do
session
tutorial.
before you do the tutorial.
I don't think you can.
I don't
Can
think
you
you
not?
can.
Okay. All right,
Yeah,
let's just go
I
then.
think we'll just have to go without. It's okay, because I have time to do like this. Or actually, oh, what time is it? Fuck.
Okay. It's
Okay,
like
I have time to do
11:41.
one, and then I gotta bail because
Okay.
I gotta go
Yeah, it's all
shower.
good.
I don't want to go to work
yeah.
today.
Hmm. Yeah. They also used to just lobotomize people for whatever reason, so Lamau, true.
Yeah, true.
Just a lobotomy among friends. Hunter's bow. Did it.
I am taking the bow as well.
It is stork.
Okay, defeat 3 bitey sharks.
Oh,
Bitey
paladin, stronger.
shark. Where are you, bitey shark?
Bitey shark.
Those are bunnies.
Benuis.
There's a chest. Yes, give me a better bow. I will take it.
I found body shark. Diddled it, and there's 3 of them. Diddled it.
Yay!
Yeah.
Die.
Oh, I found a black card cock. I mean, board
Yeah.
box.
Woo! I cock. Ice pick lobotomy was very chic in the carnival circuits. This Kenj. Alright, new
you
area.
know.
Here I go.
So was supporting people with disabilities, so you
Oh,
know.
it's time. We gotta destroy 3 pieces of big black cardboard. Oh, and there's a statue.
It is. Aww.
Statue. Hello, statue.
Yeah.
Oh, and their drowsy mimic appeared. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. Come here, fucker. Come here, fucker.
You little fucker.
Fucker!
Alright, what are you going
Oh,
to
I
do?
got the.
You got ultimate.
thing.
Still packs a paw. Which of these words hits you right in the heart? Kabam. Screams. Say back, please. That pure heart is too radiant. And he got me. I don't know what you want, you fuck. You bear fuck.
No, she can't. I'm on the phone. It's traumatizing.
Yeah. Oh, Olive.
She's just a
I'd
baby.
rather have a bottle in front of me than a frontal lobotomy. Hey.
What up,
Oh.
Womp?
I mean, I guess.
These cave stars. Ah!
Got it.
Give me levels.
Oh.
Ah, give me levels. Give me fuel. Give me fire. Give me that which I
The
desire.
statue did not like my answer.
Same.
What did you
I don't
say?
know why.
I was being honest. He asked, would I rather be fit and healthy forever or have free food forever? And I said I wanted free food.
Oh,
Yeah, man. Oh.
that sounds like the correct
Honest.
answer to me.
I was being honest. I got the staff of time. Time for staff.
The time for staff.
Olive, don't lick, please.
Okay.
I cannot manage you.
In this economy, right?
In this economy.
Iron hoe.
Okay, catch a small fish.
One small fish shadow.
Small fish.
Oh, that's easy.
And I gotta go do that quest where I can climb up walls with my mount. That's incredible.
Yeah,
I
it's
didn't know that
awesome.
was a
It's
thing.
so good.
And there goes Olive. As I suspected, she said, this is traumatizing for me.
Mother,
specifically."
I am traumatized by the fact that you have friends.
Yeah, literally.
How dare
You're
you? How
supposed
dare
to
you
pay
talk to anyone
attention.
but me?
Yeah. I'm just a baby. I found the fish.
Hell yeah.
Yay.
Oh yeah. It's just a bunch of spinguses.
So what chests are we looking out for the thing?
They're like the blue mimics that
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh.
the special blue mimics. Sorry, I called
They-
them chests earlier. I should have said mimic.
What
There's one on the map right now.
I
They
think there
give
can
you
only
an-
be one on the map at a time, and it'll tell you when one has appeared.
They give you
Yeah.
an item. Oh, there's
Oh
one
yeah,
right here.
it's
Nice.
yeah.
So they give you an item that you feed to the
Or
one of
they
the little
can.
robot guys.
They can
They
give you an
can.
item. Yeah,
Damn,
there's a
headbang dream.
chance.
Yeah. Headbang.
Oh yeah. Want these boats? I'm ready. I'm ready.
Mine a
I
huge
want those
ore.
boots.
We are.
Very
Oh.
good for levels for me to just run through these clowns. All the attention is all up. It's a crab, right? Actually, wait. Would it cure my chronic illness, or is it fit? Is fit and healthy code for fat phobia? No.
It's probably
question.
fat phobia.
Oh yeah. Whoa. Harvest 15 white pumpkins. Oh look, a chest.
Son of a bitch.
Oh, my headphones battery is low.
Oh no.
Ay, Dios mío.
Hey, warp circle appeared. Oh, yes. That's a lot of experience, boys. We had the ISP potion.
Be a shame if something
Anyway.
happened to it.
Alright, let me ride like the wind, bullseye. Ain't got no pickaxe. I got a hodo. Dee-da-dee-da hodo.
Dee-ba-dee-ba-do.
Man, I loved the hamster dance when I was a little fellow. I still do, but like, man, I was so crazy about it as a kid. Back in the day, I had like all those shitty gifts, and it was part of like a chain email. Oh boy, that was great. Like it had its own website. That was it. That was crazy, bro. Why are all these cabbages showing up, man? I'm looking for white pumpkins. God, Spingus.
I just saw them earlier, and then I got attacked by a bunch of jackals, and now I'm trying to look for them again.
Oh. Here, beautiful baller.
Fucking
Yeah.
ballers. Okay,
Come
they're
on,
down
everybody.
here.
Here we go. It's a brand new version of the Dosey Dos. Stop your hands and clap your feet. Come on, you don't
There they
even
are.
have to eat. I don't remember them at all. In case it was not obvious. Hey, I'm trying to do
Oh,
a super
I don't
move
have
here.
a
It's not
hoe.
working.
Ha ha ha.
Spin around and feel the groove.
Sorry, I
Beep,
said I
beep,
don't have a
beep, beep.
hoe, and my wife yelled from the other room, "There's one in here!"
Alright, we got him. We got it. Level 44. Yes.
I'm on my way to this drowsy mimic.
I'm being swarmed by burly gorillas.
Early girls is what I thought you were gonna say, and I'd be like, what bliss?
I wish
Jackpot. I'm gonna warp to you.
they could carry me to safety.
Burly girls, save me from the burly gorillas. Burly gorillas. Oh my god, there's so many guys here.
And
I don't know how this keeps happening to me.
I got the headbang, so I'm running.
Oh, let's fucking go.
Can you warp when you have that?
I don't know.
Actually. Hey. Oh, I miss all my charge speed ups. Oh, I miss them. Miss them to pieces.
Oh, drowsy mimic.
What's better? Much more efficient this time. Let's go. We knew the assignment. Great, I have an actual piece of armor now instead of just trash.
Where's the drowsy mimic?
Oh no. Oh no. What was it? 90, what was it? That fucking Phantom of the Opera. Forget his name.
How do I get over there?
What's his name? Shit, I knew it like 3 seconds ago, and now I don't remember it. Yes, Gerard Butler. Oh no, not just Gerard Butler. I hope he doesn't kiss me. That's it. That's so fucking funny. Ah, you move it. Being attacked by panthers. Ah, panthers.
Sorry, I'm quiet. I'm thinking.
Yeah,
I'm too hyper focused on what I'm doing.
I know. I'm just existing.
Spin around and feel the groove.
Bam headbang when there's no guys around. Great.
Yeah. You shall not pass. We got him. That's 2 more forest panthers dispatched. Dispatched. They had patches and now they don't.
Damn.
Hey, look, a little man. Ah, fuck. Pine cones appearing up my ass. Over fucking. Jeez. All right, there we go. Where's Barry?
An eye out for another drowsy mimic.
Two
just
more
looking for
forest
panthers.
Yeah. Oh, I see him.
You see him?
I see him.
Ah!
Barn, go see
I will
him.
walk to you. Oh yes, I will walk to you, and we will assail these panthers. Shoot done. Proud of you. Yeah. Yeah. I don't have that skill yet. Ow, dude. My fucking face.
Damn it.
Being mauled by panthers.
I got a life cure, it's fine.
Yup.
Yeah.
That panther sure didn't. I tell you what. Yeah, get his ass, yeah. He's dead. Woo!
We did it!
Look at all that money.
Yay!
All them level ups. That's another area claw.
I activated one of the bots.
Drowsy
Oh,
mimic,
and
drowsy
drowsy
mimic,
mimic
drowsy mimic.
appeared.
Where is your boy? Sleepy boy. All of the fellows are active. The gentlemen are active.
Yeah, I meant
See,
I fed
question
him
mark.
things.
Oh, okay, I got it. Sorry.
Yeah.
Warming up some food. What food? I gotta come to you. Sorry.
I got the drowsy mimic.
Yay!
Oh, what is it?
It's Bam Headbang.
Oh, good. What happened to you?
Hey, that's so good.
Hello. Where's the fellow with the stuff in it?
Damn, look how much time we got.
I know.
Yeah, that was really efficient. It's almost like actually knowing what you're doing makes you better at doing things. Wow. So you activated the one that was in this area, the chomp leaf now?
Yeah.
There's stuff around it? I'm going to get my stuff. Thanks.
Oh, I don't know if there's stuff around it. I have to.
Yeah, I fed stuff to the Monzyger, so you guys can get stuff from the Monzyger.
Unziger, there it is. There it is, guys.
Yes.
Nice,
Penny's done
Monziger.
with the
Yes.
tutorial, so
Royal Bangules.
she can join us next time.
Oh, yeah.
If there is actually
After this
we
one,
might be out of
I
time.
have to bounce because I have to go shower and get ready for therapy and then
It's-
for work.
It's almost
Thir-
12 anyways, so
Well, yeah.
we may not have time after
Alright.
this one.
Okay, where? Let's go to the hop. We'll go to
I
the.
teleported
I'm gonna
to
go to the
the-
leaf boy at the bottom of the bottom of everything. Does the cost of the drop have anything to do with the value of the rewards?
I don't know.
I have auto tossed materials.
I usually auto toss. Saves
doing
me
it 3
time.
times. On down. Anybody who wants something from this leafy boy.
Leafy boy.
Alchemy robot. Yeah.
Apple
Wizards, ho.
slicer.
Me too. Divine Shields. Lightning Strike. Ooh, Lightning Strike is my favorite. My personal favorite. Means that you get to avoid damage and hit for free with an attack. Duperty duperty. Guess I'll take that. Look, another axe. The same axe. I don't know if I've been there yet. I'll go to that other chomp leaf now. I'll load some stuff into that too. About that. Make it a rain. Make it a rain. We make it a rain. Oh yeah. All right. More goodies. Even better apple slicer. Change his hat. Oh, Drowsy Mimic. Drowsy Mimic.
Ooh.
Oh, Drowsy
Where is
Mimic,
it?
yeah.
There it is. Okay.
Oh shit, that's a good staff. Hello.
All right. Let me get the drowsy mimic.
Yeah.
Come on, come down in your big bubble, dog. It came down in a bubble, dog.
Grow up.
Okay, well I got headbang.
That was
Did you
her
get your
sister.
stuff over here?
A princess.
Is
Am I
there a
wrong?
chance that they'll
You're gonna
fever
look at
on
me
their
and tell me
own?
that I'm wrong? Yes.
Oh yeah, there's a Dawn statue. 51. Got 3 minutes 45, 50 seconds left. So that's
Hi,
okay.
Olive. You
What happens if I
returned.
touch it? Another drowsy mimic. Give me your fucking magic, you idiot.
Give it to
Give
me.
me your magic.
Nope, it's just another bam
That's
headbang.
Oh, good. Where's that
I
Dawn
thought this
statue? There
power
you
was
are, you
cool the
idiot.
first time.
It's great. I didn't know that it was. She was a witch. Real connoisseur. Which kind of
Her
broth do you
sister
prefer?
was a witch.
Flying fish stock. Alright. Aboriginal soup, extra garlic. What do you want? I hate you. You bear fuck. How am I supposed to know? He's a piece of shit. Could be giving me golden busters and he's zapping me and making me twitch on the ground. What an asshole. Piece of duty.
Doody
Okay,
doody 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 doo.
That's true.
Oh.
Ooh, another statue.
Oh,
I
good.
got
I can't
zapped.
wait to get zapped by it. Right?
I've been super lucky with my answers. This is the first time I've gotten zapped.
Damn. What's that?
Hey, he was happy with my answer. Hooray.
Well, the first time for everything. There you
Yeah,
go.
basically.
Drowsy mimic.
It's right next to the chomp leaf nest. Or one of the chomp leaf nests.
Well, I was gonna say, which one? My shit isn't
Yep,
updating
I got it.
on my map. You
I
got
got
Nice.
it.
I guess I'm good.
And I got headbang.
Son of a hooer.
Again.
Alright, well, we're running out of time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put more stuff in this leaf now. As well,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Fair enough. It is unfortunately rare to get it, but when you get it, it is worth it, so.
Wish we had the tweet, motherfucker. Okay.
I'm running around looking at things to smack with my big ol' head, and I'm not finding a lot.
That is a damn shame. Give me a gold cluster, please. May I have a
Nope.
gold cluster, please?
Oh
Nope.
yeah, can I have
No
a gold cluster, please?
gold cluster,
Jesus.
please?
Please?
I perchance procure gold cluster, please? Nothing. Pickaxe to 10. I'll take it. Alright. What's a Monzinger even give you, like, as in terms of, like, Drowsy
I
Mimic
think he gives like monster loot stuff.
monster loot? Okay,
Oh, there's
we're gonna
another
get this
Drowsy
guy.
Mimic.
We're gonna get this
Wow.
guy, and then we have to go. We have to go. We
Yeah,
have
Yep.
42
I'm going
seconds.
to
Jack, why
the-
don't you... Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
good.
going to
Bad
the
headbang
place.
dream. My favorite. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Alright, let's go. My stats are really low, so I don't know.
We're probably
We'll
gonna
see how it
die.
goes.
Alright. Ah. Going a little bit over time, yeah.
That's fine.
That's okay. Yeah. Let me make sure I've got my strongest equipment right now.
Ow.
Magic attack. Yeah, okay, cool. This is the best that I got. Hate you, bro. Really wish you would die, bro. Nice block. Or dodge? I don't know. You
Ow.
didn't get hit, all I know.
Ah!
But
Whoa,
fast.
perfect dodge.
Nice. Iframes, iframes, iframes. Boop, 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 boop. Yeah. Oh no, Jack.
Don't worry about
Oh
me.
no, Jack. You have a left cure.
No, I don't.
Oh shit. Oh shit, here it comes.
Okay, hold on.
Here it comes. You got it. Yeah, I'm distracting him. Get him. What?
Yeah!
What? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. What?
Fucker moved.
I did not mean to use thaumaturgy, but I guess it's okay that I did that. Man. Oh, man. So fucking nearsighted.
Oh.
Oh my god.
Oh god.
Don't
He's
worry
at
about
him,
me.
he's at him, he's at him. I got an item. Don't worry about it, don't worry about it. I got it. Okay.
Huh?
Alright. Yeah,
I have,
I'm
like,
gonna wait for him
one
to
hit
look
point.
after you, and I'm like, I got it. I got it. Hold on. Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. Run. Run. Alright, there we go. Perfect. Hunter really good for that.
Yeah, it's true.
Ah, perfect dodge. Eat my ass. You little shit. Super.
God, there
We got this. We got this. It's no problem. We got this. It's no problem. We got this. Unless he kills all of us in one single move. Ah!
Oh,
Ah! Aha! Come on, baby.
yeah. Nomi's killing it.
It's in the bag. It's in the bag. It's in the bag. It's in the bag. Ah! Yeah, we got him.
Yay!
got the-
We
Oh, I
did
told you we would get him by the end of
it!
the stream.
Yay!
We did it. We did
Just
it.
in
Good
the
job,
nick of
good
God.
time.
Good job, good job. Oh, I got a golden cluster!
Yay!
Oh, lucky. That's great.
God damn.
That was hard.
The lock-on range is very small. If you are not a ranger. I was like, just like 5 feet away from him. I was like,
Yay, I'm the MVP! I've never been
Yeah,
an
yeah, you
MVP.
are.
congratulations.
All right.
Look at all that stuff. All that stuff.
Silver bear trophy.
Viewer. I ain't got no gold clusters. That's fine. I got enough to get a couple of legendary Dawn Horts. I guess I should get a dark orb. I don't have any dark orbs. Hmm. You can get emotes. That's cute.
Yeah.
Alright, yeah, I might as well. 2 of these. I need so many of them, I might as well grind.
Yeah, I got a gold cluster!
Woo!
Yay!
Yeah, yeah. Hey, dark metal. I'll take that. Thank you.
Alright, what do I want for my gold cluster?
Oh, what you want? What you really want? I didn't get a single gold cluster. I'm maligned.
Sorry.
That's okay. Sometimes I get
I don't know
7.
why you didn't
Sometimes
get
I get
one.
none. Me neither. All right, we're good.
The most I've
Hey.
ever gotten was 4.
Yeah, I got 4 the last round that we did.
Yeah,
I think I
but
got
like I
the
think
most
that
of
was during I was playing online and someone got the thing that made the robot
the frenzy,
keep
Mhm.
keep
the fever or
exploding.
whatever.
Yeah.
I got 6 in one go, and then I usually get none. So I guess it's like an all or nothing kind of thing.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Well,
Thank you guys so
done.
much for
Thank
joining
you.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
super fun.
This was super fun. Hopefully we'll be back with Baldur's Gate next week. Crossing my fingers.
Yeah.
Hopefully nobody's feeling bad.
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah, really.
Okay, I gotta go
And-
because I gotta go shower and get ready for work. Love y'all.
All right,
Bye.
bye.
Later. Bye bye.
Thank you, chat, for hanging out. Thank you, Bleck, for hanging out.
Yeah.
And I will
fun
see
time.
all of you on Monday. Yay! See you guys Monday. Bye bye.